Hi everyone, welcome to Red Umbrella. I hope you're all doing well. Today we'll be looking at one disturbing theory for every South Park character. South Park has been on TV for over 25 years. But what if the characters are not just funny cartoon people? What if their actions reveal something darker about how they see the world? But before we begin, I'd just like to kindly ask you all to subscribe. It's completely free, and it really helps us improve the videos for this wonderful community we've managed to build. Anyway, that's enough. Let's begin. Eric Cartman, selective sociopath. Eric Cartman understands emotions better than anyone else in South Park. He reads people like books. He knows when someone is sad, scared, or wants something badly. But here is the disturbing part. Cartman does not use this understanding to help people. He uses it to control them. He treats empathy like a weapon. He picks up on feelings and then uses those feelings to get what he wants. Most kids learn feelings to make friends. Cartman learned feelings to win. He does not feel bad when he hurts someone. He feels excited because it means his plan worked. When other kids cry, he sees weakness. When other kids trust him, he sees opportunity. Cartman is not just mean. He is strategic about being mean. He plans how to be mean the way other kids plan birthday parties. South Park has shown this pattern across hundreds of episodes. Cartman does not randomly hurt people. He picks targets carefully. He studies them first. He learns what they care about. Then, he uses that information against them. This is not normal childhood bullying. This is planned manipulation. A regular bully might push someone or call them names. Cartman destroys lives and enjoys doing it. The show first revealed how far Cartman would go in the episode Scott Tenorman Must Die. This episode aired in season 5. Scott Tenorman is a teenager who tricks Cartman into buying his pubic hair for $10. Cartman feels humiliated. Most kids would feel embarrassed and move on, but Cartman does not move on. He spends the entire episode planning revenge. He does not just want to get even, he wants to break Scott completely. Cartman comes up with a plan that takes weeks to set up. He learns that Scott's parents own a farm. He learns that Scott loves his parents. He learns about a local chili cook-off contest. Then Cartman arranges for Scott's parents to get killed. He does not do the killing himself. He tricks a farmer into shooting them by making the farmer think they are trying to steal his pony. This part alone shows how many steps Cartman thinks ahead. But Cartman does not stop there. He takes the bodies of Scott's dead parents and grinds them into meat. He makes that meat into chili. Then he enters the chili into the cook-off contest. He invites Scott to the contest and serves him the chili. Scott eats his own parents. When Scott realizes what happened, he breaks down crying. Cartman expected this reaction. He planned for it. He even invited Scott's favorite band Radiohead to watch Scott cry. Cartman wanted witnesses to Scott's pain. This episode shows that Cartman does not just react to being wronged. He engineers suffering. He spent weeks setting up a plan that required manipulating multiple people and predicting their actions. He had to get the farmer to shoot the parents at the right time. He had to process the bodies without anyone noticing. He had to cook the chili and get it accepted into the contest. He had to convince Radiohead to show up. Every step required understanding how people think and what they would do. The most disturbing part comes at the end. After Scott collapses in tears, Cartman stands over him and licks Scott's tears off his face. He literally feeds on Scott's pain. Then Cartman calls this the happiest day of his life. He does not feel guilty. He feels accomplished. He turned another person's worst nightmare into his own personal victory. This is not a kid who lost control. This is a kid who maintained perfect control the entire time. This pattern shows up again and again. In Casa Bonita, Cartman wants to go to a restaurant called Casa Bonita for Kyle's birthday party. Kyle does not want Cartman there. So Cartman convinces Butters that a meteor is going to destroy the world. Butters believes him completely. Cartman locks Butters in a bomb shelter and tells everyone that Butters is missing. The whole town searches for Butters while Cartman takes his place at the party. Cartman keeps Butters locked up for days. Butters thinks the world ended. Butters thinks everyone he knows is dead. Butters experiences real trauma believing he is the last person alive. Meanwhile, Cartman eats Mexican food and watches cliff divers. When Butters is finally found, he needs therapy. Cartman got exactly one fun afternoon at a restaurant, but he was willing to psychologically torture another child for that afternoon. The show presents these moments as comedy. The audience laughs because the situations are so extreme, they seem unreal. But if you look at Cartman's behavior seriously, it reveals something terrifying. Cartman understands cause and effect. He understands that his actions hurt people. He understands that other people have feelings. He just does not care. Or worse, he cares only because their feelings are useful to him. Cartman even fakes redemption sometimes. He will pretend to learn a lesson. He will apologize and seem sincere. Other characters want to believe he changed. They want to think Cartman finally understands why his actions were wrong. But Cartman just learned that fake apologies get people to trust him again. He treats remorse like a costume he can put on when needed. He studies what a sorry person looks like and then imitates it. In several episodes, Cartman joins Kyle's side or helps the group with something important. These moments make the other characters think Cartman is capable of being good. But then, the next episode shows Cartman back to his old behavior. He did not actually change. He just realized that occasionally being helpful makes his manipulation easier later. People let their guard down around someone who helped them once. This is what makes Cartman different from regular cartoon villains. Regular villains want power, or money, or revenge. Cartman wants to prove he is smarter than everyone else. He wants to show that he can make people do what he wants. When he manipulates someone successfully, he gets excited not because of what he gained, but because the manipulation worked. The control itself is the reward. Think about how Cartman talks to his mom. He does not just ask for things. He plays on her guilt. He makes her feel like a bad mother if she says no. He cries on command. He threatens to run away or hurt himself. He knows exactly which buttons to push. His mom loves him completely. Cartman sees that love and uses it like a tool. When his mom finally stands up to him, Cartman just finds a new way around her boundaries. The theory here is not that Cartman is evil because he does bad things. The theory is that Cartman understands emotions as well as anyone, but chooses to use that understanding only for control. Most people develop empathy and then feel bad when they hurt others. That bad feeling stops them from being cruel. Cartman developed empathy, but never developed the part that feels bad. He has all the understanding with none of the guilt. This makes him more dangerous than someone who is just mean. Mean people lash out. They act on anger. They can be predicted. Cartman does not lash out. He plans ahead. He waits. He studies. Then he acts when he knows he will win. He treats every interaction like a game, where the goal is to get what he wants while making other people lose. And he is very good at this game because he understands the other players better than they understand themselves. The show has run for over 25 years. Cartman has not grown out of this behavior. He has refined it. As the seasons go on, his schemes get more complex. He learns from past failures. When something does not work, he tries a different approach next time. He is getting better at manipulation because he treats it like a skill to practice. Most kids would learn to be kinder as they get older. Cartman is learning to be more effective at being cruel. In the episode where Cartman tries to get Kyle's kidney, he pretends to have a change of heart. He acts like he finally understands friendship. He spends weeks being nice to Kyle. He helps Kyle with homework. He defends Kyle from other kids. Kyle starts to believe that Cartman actually cares about him. Then Cartman reveals it was all fake. He only acted nice to manipulate Kyle into giving up his kidney. When the plan fails, Cartman does not feel bad about the betrayal. He just gets angry that his strategy did not work. This shows how deep Cartman's manipulation goes. He is willing to invest weeks or even months into a lie if it gets him what he wants. He can maintain a fake personality for extended periods. He does not slip up. He does not accidentally show his true feelings. He stays in character until the very end. This level of control over his own behavior is not normal for a child. It is not even normal for most adults. This is the disturbing theory. Cartman is not broken or confused. He is not missing something that would make him normal. He has everything he needs to be a good person. He understands right and wrong. He understands how his actions affect others. He just decided that being good is less useful than being in control. Every time he acts nice, it is strategy. Every time he seems to care, it is performance. Cartman is not a kid who does bad things sometimes. He is a kid who understands exactly what he is doing and chooses to do it anyway. Moving on, we have Stan Marsh, emotional shutdown reflex. Section 2, Stan Marsh, emotional shutdown reflex. Stan Marsh is supposed to be the normal one. He is the main character. He is the kid the audience relates to. In early seasons, Stan reacts to the craziness around him with confusion and frustration, like a regular person would. But something changes as the show goes on. Stan stops reacting. He stops being surprised. He stops trying to fix things. Instead, he just goes quiet. The disturbing theory about Stan is that he did not mature into a calm person. He shut down. The world around him became so absurd and painful that his brain learned to stop processing it. When you face something overwhelming once, you feel all the feelings. When you face it 100 times, you go numb. Stan went numb. He replaced emotional reactions with detachment. He survived by stopping himself from feeling too much. South Park shows this most clearly in the episode, You're Getting Old. Stan turns 10 years old, and suddenly everything looks and sounds terrible to him. Music sounds like garbage, movies look stupid, food tastes bad, his friends seem annoying, nothing brings him joy anymore. The episode presents this as Stan becoming cynical, but cynicism is just one name for what is really happening. Stan is depressing. His brain is protecting him from disappointment by making him stop wanting things. In the episode, Stan's parents notice something is wrong. They take him to a doctor. The doctor runs tests and says Stan has a condition that makes everything seem like literal crap to him. The show plays this as a joke, but the metaphor is clear. When you see enough terrible things, eventually everything starts looking terrible. Your brain stops being able to tell the difference between real problems and normal life. Everything blends into one gray mess. Stan's depression affects his whole family. His mom, Sharon, realizes she is not happy in her marriage. Stan's numbness becomes a mirror that shows everyone else what they are avoiding. Sharon leaves Randy. They separate. Stan has to move to a new house. His whole life falls apart. And through all of it, Stan barely reacts. He just accepts it. Most kids would cry or get angry or beg their parents to stay together. Stan just watches it happen. The show eventually reverses this storyline. Stan goes back to normal, his parents get back together, but the episode revealed something true about Stan's character. He is one bad day away from shutting down completely. The absurdity around him is not funny to him anymore. It is exhausting. Every week there's a new crisis. Every week someone learns nothing. Every week things go back to how they were. Stan notices this pattern, and noticing the pattern makes it harder to care. Think about what Stan has experienced. He has watched his town destroy itself over and over. He has seen his friends nearly die. He has seen adults act like children. He has seen people get killed and come back and get killed again. He has watched his dad Randy spiral from one obsession to another. He has tried to be the voice of reason and been ignored every single time. At a certain point, being the voice of reason stops making sense. Why keep trying when nothing changes? This is different from Kyle's approach. Kyle keeps fighting. Kyle keeps believing things can get better. Kyle gets angry when things go wrong because he still thinks anger might fix something. Stan does not get angry anymore. He gets tired. When another crisis happens, Stan's first reaction is not shock or fear. It is recognition. He has seen this before, he knows how it ends, he is just waiting for everyone else to catch up. The show demonstrates this in how Stan talks in later seasons. He speaks slower. He uses fewer words. When he gives his opinion, it sounds flat. There is no passion behind it. He is not trying to convince anyone. He is just stating facts because that is what you do in a conversation. Early Stan would argue with people. Later Stan just says what he thinks and then stops talking. If someone disagrees, he shrugs. What is the point of arguing when nobody changes their mind anyway? Stan's relationship with Wendy shows this too. Wendy is his on and off girlfriend throughout the series. In early episodes, Stan really cares about impressing Wendy. He gets nervous around her. He tries to be cool. He throws up when he talks to her because he is so anxious. This is normal kid behavior. He likes a girl and wants her to like him back. But as the show goes on, Stan stops trying as hard. He and Wendy date and break up and date again. Each cycle, Stan seems less invested. It is not that Stan stops liking Wendy. It is that Stan stops believing the relationship matters in the long term. He knows they will break up again eventually. He knows something will go wrong. So when they are together, he does not let himself get too happy. When they break up, he does not let himself get too sad. He keeps himself in the middle. The middle is safe. The middle does not hurt. But the middle also does not feel like anything. This emotional flatness is a survival strategy. Stan learned that caring too much leads to disappointment, so he cares less. He does not ignore what is happening. He sees it clearly, but he sees it from behind a wall. The wall keeps the chaos from touching him. Other people panic or celebrate or grieve. Stan just observes. He became a witness to his own life instead of a participant. The show sometimes breaks through Stan's wall. Something will happen that is too big to ignore. Stan will have a moment of real emotion. He will get angry or sad or scared. But these moments do not last. Stan pulls himself back together quickly. He rebuilds the wall. He goes back to being flat. It is like he allows himself small bursts of feeling, but knows he cannot stay in that space for long. Feeling too much for too long is dangerous. Think about the episode where Stan tries to save the whales. He cares about animals. He wants to stop whaling ships from killing whales. He gets really involved in the cause. He travels to Japan. He joins activists. For a moment, Stan has passion again. He has something he believes in. But by the end of the episode, nothing has changed. The whales are still dying. The activists are still losing. Stan realizes that his caring did not matter. After that episode, Stan goes back to being flat again. This pattern repeats throughout the series. Stan will care about something. He will try to make a difference. Then he will fail or realize the problem is too big. Each failure adds another layer to his emotional shutdown. He learns over and over that caring leads to disappointment. So he slowly stops caring as much. Not because he is cruel, but because caring hurts. Stan also becomes more philosophical in later seasons. He makes observations about human nature. He points out patterns in how people behave. He sounds wise. But wisdom and depression can look similar. Both involve seeing things clearly. Both involve accepting unpleasant truths. The difference is that wisdom comes from experience and growth. Depression comes from experience and exhaustion. Stan sounds wise because he is tired. When Stan talks about the world now, he does not sound angry or sad. He sounds resigned. He knows how things are. He knows they probably will not change. He accepts this. Acceptance sounds healthy. But there are different kinds of acceptance. There is acceptance that comes from peace, and there is acceptance that comes from giving up. Stan's acceptance feels more like giving up. He is not at peace with the chaos. He just stopped fighting it because fighting it hurt too much. The show does not present this as a tragedy. Stan still works, he still goes to school, he still hangs out with his friends. From the outside, he looks fine. But fine is not the same as okay. Fine is what you say when you do not want to explain how you really feel. Stan is fine. He is always fine. But fine is just another word for numb. In one episode, Stan's grandfather keeps trying to die because he is old and tired of living. Stan helps him at first because he thinks his grandfather should have that choice. But then Stan realizes his grandfather is not just tired of living. His grandfather has given up on finding any joy in life. Stan sees himself in his grandfather. He sees what happens when you stop caring for so long that you forget how to care at all. This scares Stan, but it does not change him. He still goes back to his flat existence. This theory suggests that Stan did not grow into maturity. He grew into numbness. The world overwhelmed him, and his brain shut down his emotional responses to protect him. Now he goes through life on autopilot. He sees everything. He understands everything. He just does not let himself feel too much about any of it. This is how Stan survives South Park, by not really living in it, by watching it happen from somewhere far away inside his own head. Stan became a ghost in his own life. He is there, but not really there. Present, but disconnected. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Next up is Kyle Broflovsky, Compulsive Moral Compensation. Section 3. Kyle Broflovsky, Compulsive Moral Compensation. Kyle Broflovsky is the moral center of South Park. He is the kid who stands up for what is right. He fights against injustice. He calls out bad behavior. He tries to make the world better. But here is the disturbing part. Kyle does not fight for justice because he is naturally good. He fights for justice because he needs to prove something to himself. His morality is not just about helping others. It is about managing his own guilt and fear. Kyle carries a weight that nobody else sees. He feels responsible for things that are not his fault. He feels guilty when bad things happen, even when he did nothing wrong. This guilt sits inside him like a stone. Fighting for what is right is how Kyle tries to balance that stone. Every time he stops something bad, he feels a little less guilty. Every time he stands up to Cartman, he feels a little more okay. Kyle is not just being good, he is trying to earn his own approval. South Park has shown this pattern throughout the series. Kyle does not pick easy battles. He picks fights that are personal and painful. He goes after causes that make him uncomfortable. He pushes himself into conflicts that other people would avoid. This is not normal activism. This is someone using righteousness as medicine. Kyle treats being right like it will fix something broken inside him. The show reveals this most clearly in Kyle's relationship with Cartman. Cartman is Kyle's opposite in every way. Cartman is selfish and cruel. Kyle is thoughtful and caring. Cartman lies. Kyle tells the truth. But Kyle does not just dislike Cartman. Kyle is obsessed with stopping him. Every scheme Cartman creates becomes Kyle's mission to defeat. Kyle spends more time thinking about Cartman than anyone else in his life. This obsession goes deeper than normal rivalry. Kyle needs Cartman to be wrong, so Kyle can be right. When Cartman wins, Kyle falls apart. When Cartman succeeds, Kyle questions everything about himself. Kyle has tied his entire identity to being Cartman's moral opposite. If Cartman is evil, then Kyle must be good. If Kyle stops Cartman, then Kyle has value. Kyle built his self-worth on a foundation of opposing one person. Think about the episode where Cartman gets a Christian rock band. Cartman bets Kyle that he can get a platinum record before Kyle does. Kyle takes the bet seriously. He forms a band with Stan and Kenny. He works hard on the music. He cares about winning not because he loves music, but because losing to Cartman would destroy him. When Cartman's band succeeds, Kyle has a breakdown. He cannot handle being wrong when Cartman is right. The episode ends with Kyle screaming at God. He yells at the sky, asking why God would let Cartman win. He demands to know why good people suffer while Cartman gets rewarded. But Kyle is not really asking about fairness. He is asking why his system failed. Kyle built his whole worldview on the idea that being good leads to good outcomes. When Cartman wins by being manipulative and fake, it breaks Kyle's rules. If being good does not guarantee winning, then what is the point of being good? This reveals Kyle's deeper fear. He is not afraid of Cartman winning. He is afraid that morality does not matter. Kyle needs to believe that right and wrong are real and measurable. He needs to believe that good behavior gets rewarded and bad behavior gets punished. When reality proves otherwise, Kyle cannot handle it. His entire identity depends on the world working a certain way. Kyle's Judaism plays into this too. He is one of the few Jewish kids in South Park. He faces anti-Semitism regularly. Cartman makes Jewish jokes constantly. Other kids do not understand his holidays. Kyle feels different and isolated because of his religion. But instead of hiding his identity, Kyle defends it aggressively. He teaches people about Judaism. He confronts bigotry head-on. He makes his religion a source of pride. But underneath that pride is pressure. Kyle feels like he has to represent all Jewish people. When someone makes a Jewish joke, Kyle feels personally responsible for correcting them. When someone has a question about Judaism, Kyle feels obligated to answer. He cannot just be Jewish. He has to be the right kind of Jewish. He has to prove that being Jewish is good and worthy and important. This is exhausting. In The Passion of the Jew, Kyle watches Mel Gibson's movie, The Passion of the Christ. The movie upsets him because it blames Jewish people for Jesus' death. Kyle feels personally attacked by the film. He organizes protests. He confronts Mel Gibson directly. He demands an apology. Kyle takes a movie made decades before he was born and makes it his personal responsibility to fight against it. This episode shows how Kyle turns external problems into internal obligations. The movie is not about Kyle. It does not target him specifically. But Kyle feels targeted anyway. He feels like if he does not fight back, then he is failing his community. He feels like staying quiet would make him complicit. So Kyle takes on the burden of fighting a battle that nobody asked him to fight. Kyle does this with every social issue he encounters. When he sees injustice, he cannot just acknowledge it, he has to fix it. When he sees someone being treated unfairly, he cannot just feel bad about it, he has to intervene. Kyle treats every problem like it is his job to solve. This comes from a good place. Kyle genuinely wants to help people, but it also comes from a place of guilt. Kyle feels like if he sees something wrong and does nothing, then he is part of the problem. This mindset means Kyle never gets to rest. There is always another injustice. There is always another person being treated badly. There is always another cause to fight for. Kyle jumps from one moral crusade to the next without ever stopping to ask if he is okay. He uses activism as a distraction from his own feelings. As long as he is busy fighting for others, he does not have to think about what he needs. Kyle's friendship with Stan shows this too. Stan is Kyle's best friend. They have known each other since they were babies. But Kyle often treats Stan like a project. When Stan is sad, Kyle tries to fix him. When Stan makes a mistake, Kyle corrects him. When Stan wants to give up, Kyle pushes him to keep going. Kyle does not just support Stan, he manages Stan. He treats friendship like another responsibility. This is not because Kyle is a bad friend. It is because Kyle does not know how to just be with someone. He does not know how to sit with uncomfortable feelings without trying to solve them. When Stan is depressed, Kyle feels helpless. That helplessness scares Kyle. So Kyle turns it into action. He makes plans. He gives advice. He tries to fix the problem so he does not have to feel helpless anymore. Kyle's compulsive morality also shows up in how he talks. He gives speeches constantly. When something goes wrong, Kyle explains why it is wrong and what should happen instead. He lays out his reasoning step by step. He makes sure everyone understands the moral lesson. These speeches are not just for other people. They are for Kyle. He is reminding himself what is right, so he does not slip into being wrong. In later seasons, Kyle's speeches get longer and more intense. He does not just state his opinion. He builds arguments. He anticipates counterpoints. He defends his position before anyone attacks it. Kyle treats every conversation like a debate he has to win. This is exhausting for everyone around him, but it is even more exhausting for Kyle. He cannot just have an opinion. He has to have the right opinion, and he has to prove it is right. This need to be right creates problems for Kyle. When someone disagrees with him, Kyle does not just defend his position. He questions the other person's morality. If you disagree with Kyle, you are not just wrong. You are bad. Kyle sees the world in black and white. You are either good or evil. You are either helping or hurting. There is no middle ground. This makes Kyle a tough person to be around sometimes. He is judgmental. He is self-righteous. He acts like he knows better than everyone else. But these traits come from fear. Kyle is terrified of being wrong. If he is wrong about something, then maybe he is wrong about everything. If he makes a mistake, then maybe he is not actually a good person. So Kyle doubles down. He becomes more certain. He becomes more aggressive. He protects his moral identity because it is all he has. The disturbing theory here is that Kyle's morality is not about helping others. It is about managing himself. Kyle uses righteousness as a pressure valve. Every time he feels guilty or scared or inadequate, he finds a cause to fight for. He channels those bad feelings into action. This works in the short term. It makes Kyle feel useful and important, but it does not fix the underlying problem. Kyle still feels guilty. He just found a way to live with that guilt by constantly trying to prove he is good. This means Kyle will never feel satisfied. He will never feel like he has done enough. There will always another injustice to fight. There will always be another person to save. Kyle will keep pushing himself harder and harder. He will keep taking on more responsibility. And he will never stop to ask if this is actually making him happy. Because stopping means facing the guilt he has been running from. And Kyle is not ready to face that. Kyle does not fight for justice because he is naturally good. He fights for justice because he needs to prove to himself that he is not bad. Every act of righteousness is a defense against his own self-judgment. Every moral victory is proof that he has value. Kyle turned being good into a full-time job. And like any job, it is exhausting and endless and never quite enough. Moving on to Kenny McCormick, Death Normalization. Section 4. Kenny McCormick, Death Normalization. Kenny McCormick dies in almost every episode of early South Park. He gets crushed, burned, exploded, impaled, and killed in every way imaginable. Then the next episode starts, and Kenny is alive again. Nobody remembers that he died. Nobody mourns him. The show treats Kenny's deaths as a running joke. But if you think about what this means for Kenny, it becomes deeply disturbing. Kenny knows he dies and comes back. The show eventually confirms this through the superhero character Mysterion. Kenny is Mysterion, and Mysterion reveals that Kenny remembers every death. He remembers the pain. He remembers dying over and over. He comes back to life the next day, and everyone acts like nothing happened. Kenny is trapped in a cycle of death and resurrection that nobody else acknowledges. He experiences the most traumatic thing a person can experience repeatedly and has to carry that alone. Think about what death means for most people. Death is the end. It is final and terrifying. People spend their whole lives afraid of dying. They build religions and philosophies around the fear of death. Death is the ultimate unknown. But for Kenny, death is routine. He has died hundreds of times. He knows exactly what it feels like. Death is not scary to Kenny because it is not final. It is just painful and inconvenient. This fundamentally changes who Kenny is. Most people make choices based partly on not wanting to die. They avoid danger. They take precautions. They value their lives because they only get one. Kenny does not have that motivation. He can take risks that would be crazy for anyone else, because the worst that can happen is he dies and wakes up tomorrow. Death is not a consequence for Kenny. It is more like a really bad headache. South Park shows this in how Kenny acts. He does dangerous things without hesitation. He volunteers for risky missions. He walks into situations that would kill him and often do kill him. Other characters try to stop him sometimes. They warn him about danger. But Kenny does not care. He has been through worse. He has died worse ways. Whatever is about to happen cannot be scarier than what he has already survived. But this fearlessness comes at a cost. Kenny is not brave. He is numb. Brave people feel fear and act anyway. Kenny does not feel appropriate fear because death is not permanent for him. He lost his survival instinct. He lost the basic human drive to preserve his own life. This is not strength. This is damage. The show reveals the depth of this damage in the Mysterion episodes. Kenny becomes a superhero named Mysterion. He fights crime and protects people. He uses his immortality as a superpower. If a situation is too dangerous, Mysterion volunteers, because dying is not a real risk for him. He can sacrifice himself knowing he will come back. This seems heroic, but it is actually tragic. Kenny uses his curse as a tool. He weaponized his trauma. Instead of trying to break the cycle, he built his identity around it. He became a hero, not because he wants to help people, but because being a hero gives meaning to his suffering. If Kenny dies saving someone, then his death mattered. If he just dies randomly, then it was pointless. So Kenny puts himself in danger on purpose, so his deaths will at least accomplish something. In one episode, Kenny tries to kill himself permanently. He learns about a cult that worships Cthulhu. He thinks maybe if he dies in a specific ritual, he will stay dead. Kenny is so tired of coming back that he wants real death. He wants an ending. But even that does not work. He dies in the ritual and wakes up the next morning like always. Kenny cannot even die properly. He is stuck. This episode reveals Kenny's real problem. He does not fear death. He fears life. He fears waking up again. He fears another day of carrying memories nobody else has. He fears pretending everything is normal when nothing is normal. Kenny is tired. Not physically tired. Soul tired. He has lived too many times. He has died too many times. He wants it to stop, but it does not stop. So Kenny adapts. He stops trying to avoid death. He stops mourning himself. He treats his own mortality like a joke, because that is easier than treating it seriously. When Kenny knows something might kill him, he shrugs. When Kenny dies, his last thoughts are probably annoyance rather than fear. He has been through this before. He will go through it again. Death became boring. This affects how Kenny relates to other people. His friends do not remember his deaths. Every day they interact with Kenny like he is normal. They do not see his trauma. They do not know what he carries. Kenny has to pretend that everything is fine. He has to act like a regular kid who has never died. This creates a distance between Kenny and everyone else. He knows something about existence that they do not. He has crossed the boundary between life and death so many times it does not mean anything anymore. Kenny also comes from the poorest family in South Park. His parents are alcoholics. His house is falling apart. His family barely has money for food. Kenny wears the same orange parka every day because it is all he has. He lives in poverty while his friends have comfortable lives. This adds another layer to Kenny's isolation. He is different from his friends economically and existentially. They cannot understand his life, and they cannot understand his deaths. But Kenny does not complain. He does not ask for help. He does not tell anyone how hard things are. Kenny learned early that nobody can fix his problems. His parents cannot stop being poor. His friends cannot stop him from dying. Talking about it would not change anything. So Kenny stays quiet. He keeps his hood up. He mumbles through his parka so people cannot hear him clearly. Kenny made himself small and quiet because being loud just draws attention to pain he cannot fix. The show plays this for comedy. Kenny's muffled voice is a running joke. His deaths are over the top and ridiculous. The audience laughs because it is absurd. But absurdity is just tragedy pushed past the breaking point. Kenny's life is so consistently terrible that it loops back around to funny. He cannot catch a break. He cannot die permanently. He cannot escape. So all that is left is to laugh. Kenny's immortality also means he never gets closure. Every relationship he builds ends when he dies. Every lesson he learns gets reset. Every day is a fresh start that Kenny does not want. Other people get to grow and change and move forward. Kenny is stuck in a loop. He is the same age, in the same town, with the same friends, dying the same ways. Nothing progresses. Nothing improves. Kenny is trapped in an eternal present. This makes Kenny different from his friends in a fundamental way. Stan, Kyle, and Cartman get to believe their choices matter. They get to think tomorrow will be different from today. Kenny knows better. Tomorrow will be the same as today. He will wake up, he will go to school, he will probably die, then he will wake up and do it again. Kenny does not have hope, because hope requires believing things can change. Things do not change for Kenny. They just repeat. The Mysterion storyline tries to give Kenny agency. It tries to make his curse meaningful. But even that falls apart. Kenny cannot save everyone. He cannot stop bad things from happening. He can only die and come back. His superpower is survival. But survival is not the same as living. Kenny survives everything. He lives through nothing. In one episode, Kenny's friends finally remember one of his deaths. They mourn him. They cry for him. They miss him. For a moment, Kenny gets what he has always wanted. People acknowledge what happened to him. People care that he died. But then the next episode happens, and they forget again. Kenny got a taste of being remembered, and then lost it. This might be worse than never being remembered at all. The disturbing theory here is that Kenny does not just die repeatedly. He is dying slowly on the inside. Each death takes something from him. Each resurrection brings him back a little more hollow. Kenny is not immortal. He is being eroded. Eventually, there will be nothing left of the person he was. He will just be a collection of death memories wearing an orange parka. He will go through the motions of life without actually being alive. Kenny does not fear death because he has experienced it too many times. Death is not the enemy. Repetition is the enemy. Kenny is trapped in a cycle he cannot break. He cannot die permanently. He cannot live normally. He is stuck between life and death, belonging fully to neither. Kenny became a ghost haunting his own existence. He is there but not there, alive but not living, present but absent. Kenny normalized death so completely that he forgot how to value life. And nobody notices because nobody remembers. Kenny carries his curse alone, dying and returning and dying again, forever. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Up next is Butters Stotch, Identity Escape Mechanism. Section 5, Butters Stotch, Identity Escape Mechanism. Butters Stotch is the innocent kid in South Park. He is sweet and trusting. He believes what people tell him. He tries his best to be good. He wants his parents to be proud of him. But Butters gets hurt more than anyone else in the show. He gets manipulated, abused, grounded for things he did not do, and treated like garbage by almost everyone. And when the pain becomes too much, Butters does something disturbing. He stops being Butters. Butters creates alternate identities to escape reality. He becomes Professor Chaos, a supervillain who wants to destroy the world. He becomes Mantequilla, a Mexican crime lord. He invents personalities that are nothing like his real self. These are not just games. These are escape hatches. When being Butters hurts too much, he becomes someone else. Someone who cannot be hurt the same way. Someone who has power instead of vulnerability. This is not normal childhood imagination. Kids pretend to be superheroes or explorers. They play make-believe and then come back to reality. Butters does something different. He disappears into his personas. He uses them as shields. When life becomes unbearable, Butters fragments. He splits himself into pieces so the pain cannot touch all of him at once. The innocent, childlike exterior hides something much darker. Butters is breaking apart. South Park shows this pattern, starting with Professor Chaos. Butters gets kicked out of the main friend group. Stan, Kyle, Kenny, and Cartman decide they do not want Butters around anymore. They replace him with other kids. Butters tries to make new friends but keeps getting rejected. Nobody wants him. He is too nice, too naive, too easy to manipulate. Butters goes home feeling worthless and alone. Then something shifts. Butters decides that if being good does not work, he will be bad. He creates Professor Chaos. He makes a costume out of aluminum foil. He comes up with evil schemes. He wants to show everyone that he matters. He wants to prove he is not just a pushover. Professor Chaos is everything Butters is not allowed to be. Angry, defiant, powerful, free. But Professor Chaos's evil schemes are pathetic. He tries to flood the world by leaving hoses running. He tries to cause chaos by switching price tags at stores. His plans do not work. They barely cause any inconvenience. But that is not the point. The point is that Butters feels different when he is Professor Chaos. He feels capable. He feels like someone who cannot be ignored or pushed around. The persona gives him something real Butters does not have. Agency. The disturbing part is why Butters needs this escape. His home life is terrible. His parents ground him constantly. They punish him for things he did not do. They blame him when bad things happen, even when those things are completely out of his control. Butters lives in constant fear of disappointing his parents. He tries desperately to be good enough, but nothing he does is ever good enough. His dad Steven is angry and controlling. He yells at Butters over tiny mistakes. He invents reasons to punish Butters. He projects his own failures onto his son. Steven Stotch is miserable and takes that misery out on Butters. He makes Butters feel small and worthless, and Butters absorbs that treatment. He believes he deserves it. He thinks if he could just be better, his dad would love him. His mom Linda is unstable. In one episode, she tries to kill Butters. She drives him to a river and tries to drown him. Why? Because she thinks Steven is cheating on her. She decides that if her marriage is ruined, she will kill her son and herself. Butters survives by accident. Linda does not apologize or get help. She just goes back to normal, and Butters has to live with a mother who tried to murder him. Think about what this does to a child. Butters cannot trust the people who are supposed to protect him. His parents are the source of danger, not safety. Home is not a refuge. It is a place where Butters has to constantly monitor his behavior to avoid punishment, or worse. He walks on eggshells every day. He measures every word and action. He tries to predict what will make his parents angry so he can avoid it. This is why Butters creates other identities. Being Butters means being vulnerable to his parents. Being Butters means accepting abuse and calling it love. But being Professor Chaos or Mantequilla means living in a different reality. A reality where Butters has control, where he is not a victim, where he matters. These personas are not fantasies. They are survival mechanisms. The show demonstrates this again when Butters becomes Mantequilla. Butters gets sent to Mexico as punishment for something. He ends up working at a restaurant. The people there do not know him as Butters. They do not know about his parents or his reputation as a doormat. Butters reinvents himself. He becomes Mantequilla, a tough Mexican guy. He acts confident. He takes charge. he becomes a completely different person. Mantequilla gets involved with the cartel. He becomes important to dangerous people. He makes decisions that affect outcomes. For the first time in his life, Butters experiences real power. People listen to him. People respect him. People fear him. Mantequilla has value in a way Butters never did. And Butters likes being Mantequilla more than being himself. This is deeply disturbing. A child should not prefer a false identity over their real self. A child should not need to become someone else to feel valuable. But Butters does. Being himself only brings pain and disappointment. Being someone else brings relief. The personas are not just play. They are better than reality. Butters would rather live in a delusion than face who he actually is. Butters also gets manipulated constantly. Cartman uses Butters more than anyone else. Cartman knows Butters will believe anything. He knows Butters will do whatever he is told. Cartman locks Butters in a bomb shelter and convinces him the world ended. Cartman makes Butters think he is responsible for terrible things. Cartman destroys Butters' sense of reality over and over, and Butters keeps trusting him. Why does Butters keep falling for it? Because Butters desperately wants to be liked. He wants friends. He wants to belong. So when Cartman acts nice, Butters believes it. When Cartman asks for help, Butters provides it. Butters cannot see the pattern because seeing the pattern would mean accepting that nobody actually cares about him. That truth is too painful. So Butters keeps believing. He keeps trusting. He keeps getting hurt. Each betrayal chips away at Butters. Each punishment from his parents adds weight. Each rejection from his peers confirms what Butters fears most, that he is not enough, that something is wrong with him, that he deserves the pain he receives. Butters internalizes all of this. He does not get angry at the people who hurt him. He gets angry at himself for not being better. This self-blame makes the dissociation worse. Butters cannot escape his reality by changing things he couldn't control. He cannot leave his parents. He cannot make his friends treat him better. So he escapes by leaving himself behind. He creates new versions of himself that do not carry the same wounds. Professor Chaos does not care if his parents love him. Mantequilla does not need friends to validate him. These personas are free in ways Butters can never be. But these escapes are temporary. Butters always comes back. Professor Chaos gets defeated or gives up. Mantequilla gets sent home. The alternate identities cannot last forever. Eventually, Butters has to return to being Butters, and when he does, all the pain is still there. Nothing actually changed. The problems did not go away. Butters just postponed dealing with them. This creates a cycle. Butters experiences trauma. Butters escapes into a persona. The persona eventually ends. Butters returns to himself. More trauma happens. Butters escapes again. Each cycle makes it harder for Butters to stay in reality. Each escape makes real life feel more unbearable. Butters is fragmenting. He is splitting into more and more pieces. At some point, he might not be able to put himself back together. The show plays this as comedy. Butters is funny because he is so naive. His alternate identities are funny because they are so ineffective. But underneath the comedy is a child who is dissociating from his own life. A child who cannot handle being himself. A child who is developing coping mechanisms that will damage him forever. Butters is not growing up. He is breaking down. The theory here is that Butters uses identity escape as a survival mechanism. His real life is so painful that he has to leave it behind to keep running. He does not have the power to change things he couldn't control. He cannot fix his parents. He cannot make people treat him better. So he changes himself instead. He becomes different people who do not have to carry his pain. This is not imagination. This is fragmentation. Butters is protecting himself by splitting into pieces, and the more he splits, the harder it becomes to be whole. Butters looks innocent on the outside. He smiles and apologizes and tries to be good, but inside, Butters is shattering. Each persona is a crack. Each escape is a break. Butters is not playing pretend. He is slowly losing his sense of self. The innocent exterior is not hiding strength. It is hiding deep damage that nobody acknowledges. Butters is breaking apart in plain sight, and everyone thinks it is cute. Next up is Randy Marsh, Manufactured Crisis Addiction. Section 6. Randy Marsh, Manufactured crisis addiction. Randy Marsh is Stan's dad. He is an adult with a job and responsibilities. He should be stable and boring, like most parents. But Randy is the opposite. He creates chaos constantly. He gets obsessed with new things every week. He makes problems where none existed before. He turns small situations into massive crises. And here is the disturbing part. Randy does this on purpose, because regular life feels boring and hollow to him. Randy is hooked on drama. He needs excitement to feel alive. Regular adult life with work and family and routine makes Randy feel like he is dying inside. So he makes problems out of nothing. He invents problems. He throws himself into extreme situations. Randy treats his life like it needs to be interesting all the time. And if it is not interesting naturally, he will force it to be interesting, even if that means destroying everything around him. South Park has shown this pattern escalate over the seasons. Early Randy had occasional moments of craziness. Later Randy is chaotic constantly. He cannot just have a hobby. He turns every hobby into his whole personality. He cannot just try something new. He has to become obsessed with it. Randy does not experience things. He gets super into new hobbies, then burns out fast. Then he moves to the next thing. The show demonstrates this most clearly with Tegrity Farms. Randy decides his family should leave town and become weed farmers. He does not discuss this with anyone. He does not plan it carefully. He just decides one day that this is what they are doing now. He buys a farm. He moves his family. He changes their entire lives because he was bored with his old life. At first, Randy seems passionate about the farm. He talks about integrity and getting back to basics. He acts like this is a noble choice, like he is saving his family from modern corruption. But really, Randy just wanted something new. He wanted a crisis to manage. He wanted a project that felt important. The farm is just a way for him to create more drama. Randy runs Tegrity Farms into the ground repeatedly. He makes terrible business decisions. He picks fights with competitors. He creates problems that did not need to exist. But every problem gives Randy something to do. Every crisis makes him feel alive. Randy is not looking for a calm life. He is chasing excitement. The farm is just a way for him to create more drama. Before the farm, Randy went through other obsessions. He became obsessed with cooking shows. He got really into being a food critic. He joined a bowling team and acted like it was the most important thing in the world. He got involved in politics. He started a band. He tried every possible way to make his life feel significant. Every new phase he has follows the same pattern. This pattern reveals Randy's real problem. He cannot stand it when things are calm. Quiet domestic life feels like death to him. Randy looks at his existence and sees nothing special. He has a job that does not fulfill him. He has a family that needs basic things from him. He has responsibilities that are boring and repetitive. This is normal adulthood. But normal feels like failure to Randy. Randy always wants to be the main character. He always needs people to notice and praise him. He needs drama. He needs to feel like his life is a story worth telling. So he creates that story artificially. He generates excitement by making bad choices. He picks fights. He takes extreme positions. He acts out. Randy is like a child throwing a tantrum, except the child is a grown man with a family depending on him. Think about what this does to his family. Sharon is stuck cleaning up his mess. She has to explain to Stan why his dad is acting crazy again. She has to maintain stability while Randy destroys it. Sharon is exhausted. She married a normal guy and watched him become increasingly unhinged, and she cannot leave because that would mean admitting her marriage failed. Stan has to act more mature than his dad. Stan learns early that he cannot rely on Randy. His dad will not be stable. His dad will not prioritize Stan's needs. His dad will chase whatever makes him feel important that week. Stan becomes the adult in the relationship. He manages his dad's emotions. He tries to minimize damage. Stan's childhood is spent parenting his parent. Randy does not see the harm he causes. He is too focused on his own empty feeling. He knows something is missing inside him. He knows normal life does not satisfy him. But instead of dealing with that feeling, he runs away from feeling empty inside. He buries it under obsessions and crises. He causes drama outside so he does not have to feel his own pain. The show reveals how deep this goes during Randy's various celebrity obsessions. Randy meets celebrities and loses his mind. He becomes their biggest fan instantly. He stalks them. He tries to become their friend. He builds his entire identity around proximity to famous people. Why? Because celebrities represent significance. If Randy can associate himself with important people, maybe he becomes important too. In one episode, Randy becomes obsessed with Bono from U2. He follows Bono around, he tries to impress him, he always needs people to notice and praise him. When Bono rejects him, Randy falls apart. His whole sense of self crumbles. Randy tied his value to a stranger's opinion. When that stranger did not care, Randy had nothing left. This is not normal fan behavior. This is someone using external validation to avoid internal emptiness. Randy also gets involved in political movements. He does not carefully consider issues. He does not develop informed opinions. He just picks whatever position feels most dramatic. He becomes extreme immediately. He turns every hobby into his whole personality. He fights with people, he stages protests, he acts like his political involvement is deeply meaningful. But really, Randy just found another crisis to distract himself with. When the political cause loses momentum, Randy loses interest. He does not actually care about the issues. He cared about the feeling of being part of something big. Once that feeling fades, Randy moves on. He leaves behind the mess he made. He does not follow through. He does not take responsibility. He just hunts for the next thing that will make him feel alive. This creates a cycle. Randy feels empty. Randy finds a new obsession. Randy throws himself into it completely. The obsession causes problems. Randy deals with the problems by becoming more extreme. Eventually, the obsession burns out. Randy feels empty again. The cycle restarts. Each time, Randy gets worse. His crazy stunts get worse as time goes on. Each time, the damage spreads further. Randy knows what he is doing but cannot quit. He knows he causes problems, but he cannot stop. The alternative is facing the emptiness directly, sitting with the feeling that his life does not mean anything special, accepting that he is just a regular person with a regular existence. This terrifies Randy more than any crisis he creates. The show also reveals Randy's addiction to spectacle. He does not just want to experience things. He wants other people to watch him experience things. He needs an audience. He always needs people to notice and praise him. When Randy does something extreme, he wants everyone to know about it. He posts on social media, he tells everyone he meets, he makes sure his actions get attention. The crisis is not enough. People have to witness the crisis. This is why Randy's behavior keeps escalating. Small crises stop providing the feeling he needs. He requires bigger problems, louder conflicts, more dramatic situations. Randy is chasing a feeling that never lasts. He feels important only when people are watching him. And like any addiction, he needs more of it over time to feel satisfied. Randy gets mad that his family wants him to be normal. He sees their needs as chains. Sharon wants a reliable husband. Stan wants a present father. These are normal expectations, but to Randy, they feel like demands that he suppress himself. He feels stuck by a regular life. So he rebels. He creates chaos as a form of escape. He proves he cannot be controlled by being uncontrollable. But this rebellion hurts the people who love him. Sharon becomes bitter and exhausted. Stan becomes distant and numb. Randy is so focused on his own empty feeling that he does not notice he is emptying everyone around him. His need for significance makes everyone else feel insignificant. His need for drama is getting worse. Randy is treating his loved ones like collateral damage in his personal quest to feel alive. The disturbing theory here is that Randy is not just irresponsible or immature. He is actively addicted to manufactured crisis. Normal life feels like death to him. So he creates chaos to feel alive. He generates problems to have something to solve. He starts conflicts to have something to fight. Randy needs drama the way other people need air, and he will sacrifice anything, including his family's well-being, to get that drama. Randy is not getting better. He is getting worse. Each season, his behavior becomes more extreme. Each crisis becomes bigger. Randy is spiraling. He is consuming his own life and everyone in it. He ruins calm moments just to feel alive, and eventually, there will be nothing left to burn. Randy will have destroyed everything that mattered while chasing a feeling that can never last. He is a grown man acting like a child who never learned that peace is not the same as emptiness, that stability is not the same as death. Randy is sinking in problems he caused himself and dragging everyone down with him. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Sharon Marsh, Containment Mother. Section 7. Sharon Marsh, Containment. Mother Sharon Marsh holds her family together by absorbing all the damage. She is Randy's wife and Stan's mom. She watches her husband create crisis after crisis. She sees her family fall apart repeatedly. And instead of fighting back or demanding change, Sharon calms everyone down instead of calling them out. She calms people down. She makes excuses. She keeps the peace. But keeping the peace is not the same as creating health. She keeps things okay by never starting fights, and that conflict is destroying her from the inside. Sharon is a sponge that soaks up her family's drama. She takes in all the chaos her family creates and holds it inside herself. When Randy does something terrible, Sharon deals with the fallout. When Stan is struggling, Sharon provides support. When the family is breaking, Sharon holds the pieces together. She does not fix problems. She keeps the family running without actually solving problems, and this makes her part of the problem. South Park shows Sharon as the reasonable parent. She is the adult in the room when Randy acts like a child. She tries to ground their family in reality when Randy spirals into fantasy. She seems like the healthy one, but her calm mom act is how she copes. She learned that fighting Randy does not work, so she stopped fighting. She started containing instead. Think about what Sharon's life looks like. She wakes up and Randy has a new obsession. He wants to uproot the family. He wants to start a business. He wants to chase some celebrity. Sharon knows this will end badly. She has seen it before, but she does not stop him. She just prepares for the damage. She starts planning how to minimize the chaos. She gets ready to clean up the mess. This is not support. She accidentally helps Randy keep acting crazy. Sharon makes it possible for Randy to keep being chaotic because she handles the consequences. Randy never faces the full impact of his choices because she softens the blow of what he does. She protects him from himself. She protects the family from him. But by protecting everyone, she allows the pattern to continue. Nothing changes because Sharon makes sure nothing has to change. Sharon does this with Stan, too. Stan comes home depressed or overwhelmed. Sharon comforts him. She tells him everything will be okay. She does not address why Stan feels that way. She does not confront Randy about how his behavior affects their son. She helps for a moment, but nothing actually changes. The show reveals the cost of this approach in the episode You're Getting Old. Stan becomes depressed, and everything seems terrible to him. Sharon takes Stan to doctors. She tries to help, but she also realizes that she is unhappy. She looks at her marriage and sees that it does not work. She sees that Randy makes her miserable. For a moment, Sharon considers leaving. She thinks about choosing herself over the family's stability. Sharon tells Randy she wants a divorce. She moves out. She takes Stan with her. This is the first time Sharon stops containing. She lets the conflict explode instead of absorbing it. And for a brief moment, it seems like Sharon might actually change her life. She might actually prioritize her own happiness. But then the show reverses everything. Sharon goes back to Randy. They get back together. The family returns to normal. This reversal is disturbing. Sharon had a chance to escape. She saw clearly that her marriage was making her unhappy. She took action. But then she went back. Why? She cannot stand the idea of being blamed if the family falls apart. She cannot live with the guilt of destroying what she spent years holding together. So she goes back to containing. She swallows her unhappiness and rebuilds the stability. She chooses the family over herself. This choice defines Sharon. She gives up her own happiness to keep the peace. She will absorb pain to prevent conflict. She will stay quiet to keep things running. Sharon is not a martyr doing this nobly. She is a woman trapped by her own coping strategy. She sees herself as the one who must always be strong. If she stops being stable, who is she? If the family falls apart, what was the point of all her suffering? Sharon also does this with her friends and community. When South Park has problems, Sharon participates in solutions that do not actually solve anything. She joins committees, she attends meetings, she supports initiatives, but she never pushes for real change. She never confronts the actual problems. She keeps the family running without actually solving problems. Sharon is a professional at making broken things look functional. Think about Sharon's relationship with other women in town. Her friendships never go very deep. Sharon does not share her real problems. She does not admit how unhappy she is. She presents a version of herself that is fine, that is handling everything, that is in control. Sharon cannot be vulnerable, because vulnerability means admitting the containment is failing. And if the containment is failing, then everything she sacrificed was for nothing. Sharon drinks wine to cope. The show plays this as a joke. Sharon has wine at the end of long days. She drinks to relax. But the wine is not relaxation. It is sedation. She uses wine to numb herself. She holds all the stress inside herself during the day. Then she drowns her own pain at night. The wine is part of the containment system. It helps Sharon keep swallowing what she should be spitting out. Randy does not appreciate what Sharon does. He takes her stability for granted. He creates chaos, knowing Sharon will clean it up. He does not thank her. He does not acknowledge the burden she carries. Randy is free to be irresponsible because Sharon is responsible enough for both of them. He outsourced all the adult duties to his wife so he could stay a child. And Sharon accepted this arrangement because she does not know how to stop. Stan sees what his mother does. He watches her absorb and contain and smooth over. And Stan learns that this is what love looks like. Love means tolerating bad behavior. Love means staying quiet when you are hurt. Love means sacrificing yourself to keep others comfortable. Stan is learning dysfunction from watching Sharon. He is learning that the person who cares most should suffer most. This will damage how Stan approaches relationships for the rest of his life. Sharon stays busy so she does not have to think about how she feels. She cooks and cleans and manages schedules. She fills her time so she does not have to think about how empty she feels. The constant motion distracts from the constant pain. As long as Sharon is doing something, she does not have to face what is being done to her. But sometimes she bursts out, and you see how upset she is. She snaps at Randy. She expresses frustration. She lets people see that she is not okay. But these moments are brief. She snaps back into "I'm fine" mode right after. She apologizes for losing control. She rebuilds the walls. She goes back to containing. The cracks get sealed before real change can happen. The show does not present Sharon as tragic. She is just a mom dealing with a chaotic family. She is doing her best, but her best is keeping everyone trapped. Sharon is the glue holding a broken thing together. And sometimes broken things need to fall apart. Sometimes stability is the enemy of growth. She stops the family from falling apart and also from changing. She keeps everyone in the same broken pattern because she is terrified of what might happen if the pattern breaks. Sharon's containment creates a specific kind of household, a place where problems never get solved, but never fully explode either. A place where everyone knows something is wrong, but nobody talks about it directly. A place where peace is purchased with silence. Sharon is the architect of this environment. She built it with her own exhaustion. She maintains it with her own pain. The disturbing theory here is that her way of keeping peace traps everyone in bad patterns. She is hurt by the chaos, but also keeps it going. By absorbing conflict instead of confronting it, Sharon makes it possible for Randy to stay broken and Stan to grow up broken. Her strength is actually weakness. Her stability is actually stagnation. Sharon is a dam holding back a flood. But dams do not last forever. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much. Eventually, something breaks. And when Sharon finally breaks, the flood will be catastrophic because she held it back for so long. Sharon is dying inside while keeping everyone else alive. She is emptying herself to fill others. She is burning out while maintaining the illusion that everything is fine. Sharon is not fine. She has not been fine for years. But she will keep pretending, because pretending is all she knows how to do. Sharon is the containment mother, and containment is just another word for slow suffocation. Up next is Wendy Testaberger, Moral Supremacy Leverage. Section 8. Wendy Testaberger, Moral Supremacy. Leverage. Wendy Testaberger is the smartest girl in South Park Elementary. She is class president. She fights for causes. She stands up against injustice. She seems like a positive character, someone who makes the world better. But here's the disturbing part. Wendy does not fight for justice because it is right. She fights for justice because it gives her power. She uses doing the right thing to gain power. Her righteousness is not about helping, it is about winning. Wendy is Kyle, but more calculating. Kyle uses morality to manage his guilt. Wendy uses morality to manage her social position. She figured out early that being right makes you powerful. People cannot argue with someone who has the moral high ground. People have to listen to someone fighting for a good cause. She turns morals into a weapon. Being the good one helps her win. South Park shows this pattern through Wendy's activism. She does not just participate in causes, she leads them. She takes charge. She makes sure everyone knows she is the one making things happen. When there is a protest, Wendy organizes it. When there is an injustice, Wendy is the first to speak up. She puts herself in the spotlight of every problem. This is strategic. Wendy is building her reputation as the good person, and that reputation gives her power over others. Think about how Wendy operates in school. She is class president multiple times. She runs on platforms about making things better. She promises to fight for students. She presents herself as a leader who cares. And she does care. But her causes also help her look important. She loves having authority. She loves being the person everyone has to listen to. Wendy is addicted to being in charge, and she uses morality to justify staying in charge. When someone challenges Wendy, she does not just defend her position. She makes the challenge about morality. If you disagree with her, she acts like you are a bad person. You are on the wrong side of justice. She makes every fight into, I'm good, you're bad. And she always makes sure she is on the good side. This makes her almost impossible to argue with. How do you fight someone who turned the fight into a moral test? The show demonstrates this in Wendy's relationship with Stan. Stan is her on and off boyfriend. When they are together, Wendy often corrects Stan. She points out when he is being insensitive. She teaches him about issues he does not understand. She improves him. But this improvement is also control. Wendy is shaping Stan into what she thinks he should be. She changes Stan by making him feel wrong all the time. Stan goes along with this because he respects Wendy. He thinks she is smarter than him. He trusts her judgment. But this dynamic is not healthy. Wendy is not Stan's equal in the relationship. She is his superior. She is the teacher, and he is the student. She is the one with the right opinions, and he is the one who needs to learn. This imbalance gives Wendy power. And Wendy likes having power over Stan. When Stan does something Wendy disapproves of, she does not just tell him she is upset. She makes it a moral issue. She explains why his behavior is wrong from an ethical standpoint. She frames her personal hurt as a larger social problem. Stan cannot just apologize for hurting his girlfriend. He has to apologize for failing to be a good person. Wendy makes Stan feel guilty not just for hurting her, but for being morally deficient. This is manipulation. She makes people feel guilty so they will do what she wants. She is making Stan feel like he is bad, so he will try harder to be good. And trying harder to be good means doing what Wendy wants. Wendy turned morality into a leash. She walks Stan around with ethics. He cannot resist because resisting would mean being a bad person. And Stan does not want to be a bad person. Wendy does this with other students too. When she sees behavior she disapproves of, she does not just address it privately. She makes it public. She calls people out in front of others. She shames them. She makes examples of them. Wendy acts like she is educating people, but really, she is asserting dominance. She is showing everyone that she has the authority to judge them, that she can decide who is good and who is bad. Think about the episode where Wendy fights Cartman. Cartman makes fun of breast cancer awareness. Wendy gets angry. She challenges Cartman to a fight. She wants to physically beat him up. The show frames this as justified. Cartman was being horrible. He deserved to be confronted. But look at how Wendy approaches it. She does not argue with Cartman. She does not try to teach him. She threatens violence. And everyone supports her because Cartman is clearly wrong. Wendy uses the moral rightness of her cause to justify aggression. She says it is okay to be harsh because her cause is good. And because her cause is just, nobody questions her methods. Wendy gets to be violent and still be the hero. She found a way to dominate others while maintaining her moral image. This is not about stopping Cartman. This is about proving Wendy can destroy anyone who opposes her and still be right. The fight itself reveals Wendy's true nature. She does not just beat Cartman, she destroys him. She hits him until he is bloody and crying. She does not stop when he gives up. She keeps going. Wendy is not fighting for justice anymore. She is enjoying the violence. She is enjoying the power. Hurting someone seems okay if she believes they deserve it. She uses justice as an excuse to be harsh. After the fight, everyone praises Wendy. They say she did the right thing. They celebrate her victory. Wendy receives validation for being violent. She learns that aggression is acceptable as long as you have the moral high ground. This is dangerous. Wendy is learning that righteousness justifies any action. That being right means you can do whatever you want to people who are wrong. Wendy also competes with other girls through morality. When another girl gets attention, Wendy finds a way to position herself as more ethical. She criticizes other girls for being shallow or superficial. She acts like she is above caring about appearance or popularity. But this is just another form of competing. Wendy is fighting for a social position by claiming she does not care about social position. She is winning the game by pretending she is not playing. Think about how Wendy talks about other girls. She does not say mean things directly. She talks like she is worried, but she is really judging them. She worries that other girls care too much about boys. She worries they are not using their potential. She worries they are setting bad examples. But these worries are judgments. Wendy is saying she is better than other girls without saying it directly. She is claiming superiority through morality. This makes it hard for other girls to challenge Wendy. If you argue with her, you look like you are defending shallow behavior. If you criticize her, you look like you are attacking someone who cares about important things. Wendy built a shield out of righteousness. She can judge everyone else, but nobody can judge her. Her "I'm right" image protects her from criticism, and she maintains that image very carefully. Wendy also uses causes to avoid dealing with her own problems. When her relationship with Stan is struggling, she throws herself into a cause. When she feels insecure, she starts a campaign. Wendy stays busy fighting for others so she does not have to face what is happening inside herself. Activism becomes a distraction, a way to feel important when she feels small. She hides feeling unsure behind acting like a leader. But this means Wendy never actually deals with her personal issues. She never sits with her insecurities. She never works through her relationship problems. She just covers them with causes. She buries her pain under righteousness. As long as Wendy is fighting for justice, she does not have to fight with herself. As long as she is fixing the world, she does not have to fix her own life. The show does not present Wendy as a villain. She is generally right about the things she fights for. Her causes are good. Her intentions seem pure. But intentions do not erase impact. Wendy hurts people with her morality. She controls people with her righteousness. She dominates people with her ethics. She turned being good into a weapon, and she uses that weapon constantly. The disturbing theory here is that Wendy does not care about justice for its own sake. She cares about justice because it gives her power. She uses morality to climb the social hierarchy. She uses ethics to control others. She uses righteousness to avoid vulnerability. Wendy is not the good girl fighting for what is right. She is a competitor who figured out that morality is the most effective tool for winning. Every cause she fights for is also a fight for her own supremacy. Every injustice she confronts is also an opportunity to prove she is better than everyone else. She mixes doing good with being in charge, and that makes her more dangerous than someone who is obviously cruel. She controls people but still looks like the hero. She wins every fight by making sure the fight is about good versus evil. And Wendy always gets to be good. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on, we have Token Black, Success Burden. Section 9. Token Black, Success Burden. Token Black has everything. He comes from the richest family in South Park. He lives in a big house. His parents are successful and loving. He has nice clothes and expensive things. Token should be happy. He should feel lucky. But here's the disturbing part. Token always feels like he has to explain why his life is good. His good life feels like a job, not a gift. Token carries the weight of being the kid who has it all. And that weight crushes him in ways nobody sees. Token is the only black kid in his class for most of the series. He is also the richest kid. These two facts define how everyone treats him. People expect things from Token that they do not expect from others. He has to be good at everything. He feels like he has to represent all black people. He has to use his advantages properly. Token does not get to be a regular kid. He feels like he must always be amazing, and being exceptional all the time is exhausting. South Park shows this through how other characters talk to Token. They assume he knows about black culture. They ask him to explain rap music. They expect him to have opinions about black issues. Token did not choose to be the spokesperson for an entire race, but his classmates made him one anyway. Every time something involves black people, everyone looks at Token. People act like he speaks for every black person. Token tries to explain that he does not represent all black people. He is just one person. But nobody listens. His friends still come to him with questions about race. They still expect him to have answers. Token becomes responsible for educating white kids about diversity. This is not his job. He is a child. But the burden falls on him because he is the only one there. Think about what this does to Token. He cannot just exist. Every action he takes reflects on black people in general. At least that is how it feels. If Token does something wrong, it might confirm stereotypes. If Token does something right, he has to do it perfectly or he lets people down. He watches what he does so he does not fit bad stereotypes, constantly monitoring his behavior, constantly trying to represent well. This is a huge mental load for a kid to carry. Token's wealth adds another layer. His money makes him feel separate from his friends. His house is nicer. His stuff is better. This should not matter, but it does. Other kids resent Token for having things they do not have. They make comments about him being rich. They act like Token does not understand regular problems because his family has money. Token gets isolated by his advantages. But Token also feels bad for having it better than others. He knows other kids struggle. He knows his friend Kenny is poor. Token did not earn his money. He was born into it. So he feels weird about having so much when others have so little. Token cannot enjoy his advantages without feeling bad. He cannot be grateful without feeling guilty. His success becomes a source of shame instead of pride. The show demonstrates this in episodes where Token tries to fit in. He hides how rich he is to feel normal. He does not talk about expensive things he owns. He tries to be humble. But his friends still see him as the rich kid. They still treat him differently. Token cannot escape the label. No matter how much he tries to be normal, people remind him he is not. His success marks him. It separates him from everyone else. Token also faces pressure to achieve. His parents are successful. His parents' success makes people expect a lot from him. They want Token to use his advantages. They want him to excel. They give him opportunities other kids do not get. Music lessons, expensive equipment, private coaching. Token has every tool he needs to succeed, which means he has no excuse to fail. This creates intense pressure. Token has to be good at things. Not just okay, actually good, because he has all the advantages. If someone with every opportunity still fails, what does that say about them? If he fails, he feels like he does not deserve what he has, that he does not deserve his privileges, so he pushes himself constantly. He works hard. He feels like he has to be great to be worthy. Not because he wants to, but because he has to. Think about the episode where Token plays bass guitar. Cartman assumes Token can play bass because he is black. This is racist and stupid. But then Token actually can play bass. He picks it up naturally. He is good at it immediately. The show plays this as a joke. But it reveals something about Token. He is good at things. He meets expectations. He does not get to struggle or be mediocre. He has to excel. This pattern repeats across the series. Token is good at sports. He is smart in school. He has musical talent. He is well-rounded and capable. These are positive traits. But they are also expectations. People expect him to be good at everything. He does not get to quit when things are hard. He has to maintain his image as someone who has it together. Because if the kid with every advantage cannot succeed, what is his excuse? Token also monitors himself racially. He is aware of stereotypes about black people. He knows what people expect, and he watches what he does so he does not fit bad stereotypes. If there is a stereotype about black people being loud, Token stays quiet. If there is a stereotype about black people being aggressive, Token stays calm. He acts extra proper to fight stereotypes. He loses parts of himself to avoid being labeled. But this is exhausting. Token cannot just be himself. He has to be a version of himself that disproves stereotypes. He has to be the good black kid, the respectable one. The one who proves that black people can be successful and educated and proper. Token carries the weight of representation every single day. And that weight affects everything he does. His friends do not really get how heavy this feels. They do not understand the pressure he feels. They treat Token like he has it easy because he has money. They do not realize that Token is performing constantly, that he is managing perceptions constantly, that he is tired constantly. Token is isolated by the very things that should make his life easier. Think about how Token reacts when his friends are being racist. He gets angry sometimes. He calls them out, but other times he just lets it go. He only speaks up sometimes because he is too tired to always do it. Too tired to teach everyone. Too tired to explain why something is hurtful. Token learns to pick his battles, which means he lets some racism slide. He feels bad when he lets things slide. This creates guilt. Token feels like he should speak up more. He should fight harder against ignorance. He has the platform and the voice. But he is just a kid. He did not ask to be the one who teaches everyone about race. He did not volunteer to be the spokesperson. But the role fell on him anyway. And when he does not fulfill that role perfectly, he feels guilty. Token also feels pressure about money. His parents are generous. They give to charity. They help the community. They use their wealth responsibly. Token is expected to do the same eventually. He's being raised to be a good, rich person. Someone who gives back. Someone who uses privilege for good. This is admirable. But it is also pressure. He treats his rich life like a duty. He has to earn what he was given by being better than other people. This means Token cannot just enjoy being rich. He cannot be frivolous or wasteful. He has to be thoughtful about his advantages. He has to justify them through achievement and goodness. Token turned his privilege into a job. He feels like he has to prove he earns his good life every day. But you cannot earn something you were born with. Token is trying to accomplish something that is impossible. The show does not present Token as suffering. He has a good life. He is not abused or neglected. His problems are smaller than other characters' problems, but the burden of success is still real. Token carries weight that nobody else sees. He manages pressures that nobody else understands. He performs a version of himself that is acceptable to everyone around him. And that performance is killing the real Token slowly. Token does not get to be a kid. He has to be a representative. People see him as a symbol, not a normal kid. An example. He has to prove that black people can be successful. He has to prove that rich people can be good. He has to prove that privilege does not make you bad. These are adult burdens placed on a child's shoulders, and Token carries them because he does not know how to put them down. The disturbing theory here is that Token's advantages became his prison. He does not get to enjoy what he has. He has to justify it constantly. His success is not freedom. It is obligation. Token has to be better than everyone else because he started ahead of everyone else. He has to work twice as hard to prove he deserves what was given to him. His rich, perfect life feels like a cage. The very things that should make his life easier make his life harder. Because privilege comes with expectations. He is stuck between feeling bad and being pushed to be perfect. Next up is Tweak, hyper-awareness anxiety loop. Section 10. Tweak, hyper-awareness anxiety loop. Tweak is afraid of everything. He shakes constantly. His eyes are wide. He pulls at his hair. He screams about things that might happen. Other kids see danger sometimes. Tweak sees danger everywhere. But here is the disturbing part. Tweak is not paranoid for no reason. He is not inventing threats. Tweak sees too much. His mind thinks about too many things at once. He notices possibilities that other people miss. Tweak is not broken. He is overloaded. His anxiety comes from too much input, not from making things up. Most people filter reality. They notice some things and ignore others. This filtering helps them work. If you thought about every possible danger, you would never leave bed. Your brain protects you by making you forget how fragile everything is. But Tweak's filter does not work. His brain does not know how to ignore harmless stuff. He sees all the threats. He calculates all the risks. He processes all the possibilities. His brain is running every scenario at once. And that is too much for anyone to handle. South Park shows this through Tweak's constant panic. He is not afraid of one thing. He is afraid of everything. He worries about North Korea launching missiles. He worries about gnomes stealing his underwear. He worries about coffee going bad. He worries about forgetting to do homework. Everything feels scary, even small things. He cannot tell which problems are big and which are small. Think about what this means. Tweak wakes up already scared. Did he lock the door? Are there bugs in his bed? Is the house going to catch fire? Is someone breaking in right now? These thoughts flood his mind before he even gets up. Other kids wake up and think about breakfast. Tweak wakes up and thinks about death. His mornings are just him trying not to freak out. Every day starts with overwhelming anxiety. His parents make his anxiety worse without realizing. They own a coffee shop. They give Tweak coffee constantly. Coffee makes anxiety worse. It speeds up your heart and makes you jittery. Tweak drinks coffee all day, and his parents do not see the problem. They think coffee is fine. They do not connect Tweak's shaking to the caffeine. Or maybe they do not care. Either way, they are feeding their son's anxiety instead of helping him manage it. The show reveals that Tweak's parents also use him for business. They make Tweak hand out samples. They use his anxiety as a marketing tool. They tell customers that Tweak is tweaked out on their coffee. They turn their son's suffering into a sales pitch. Tweak is not just anxious. People use his anxiety instead of helping him. His parents profit from his pain. They make money while he stays stressed. This is deeply messed up. Tweak cannot trust his parents to protect him. They are actively making him worse. They give him caffeine. They put him in stressful situations. They do not get him help. Tweak lives in a home where his anxiety is useful to everyone except him. He is trapped with people who benefit from keeping him broken. Tweak also notices things other kids miss. He sees patterns. He connects dots. When something bad might happen, he sometimes notices real trouble before anyone else. Other kids call him paranoid. But Tweak is often right. The threats he worries about sometimes actually happen. Being right sometimes makes him worry even more. Because if his fears come true sometimes, how can he know which fears to ignore? Better to worry about everything, just in case. Think about the episode with the underpants gnomes. Tweak insists that gnomes are stealing his underwear. Nobody believes him. His parents think he is making it up. His friends think he is crazy. But Tweak is right. The gnomes are real. They are actually stealing underwear. Tweak saw something nobody else could see, and nobody believed him. This is Tweak's life. He notices real threats and gets called paranoid. This pattern makes Tweak doubt himself. When everyone says you are wrong, you start to think maybe you are wrong, even when you are right. Tweak knows what he sees, but everyone tells him he is seeing things. He is not sure whether to believe what he sees. He is trapped between what he feels and what others say is not real. This confusion adds to his anxiety. Tweak also processes social situations differently. He reads tone and body language constantly. He notices when someone is annoyed or angry or upset. He picks up on micro-expressions that other people miss. This makes Tweak very sensitive to social dynamics. He knows when someone does not like him.
He knows when he is bothering people. He knows when the group is getting frustrated. And he knows before anyone says anything. This awareness is torture. Tweek constantly watches people to see if they are mad at him. He is watching for signs of rejection or anger. He is trying to predict social threats the same way he predicts physical threats. And because he sees so much, he always thinks something is going wrong. Someone shifted their weight. Someone sighed. Someone looked away. Little things people do feel like danger signs to him, as evidence that people are upset with him. But sometimes people are just tired. Sometimes a sigh is just a sigh. Tweek cannot tell the difference between a real threat and normal behavior. He treats everything as a warning sign. This makes social situations exhausting for him. He is performing constant analysis while trying to have normal conversations. His brain is doing too much work. Think about Tweek's relationship with Craig. Craig is his boyfriend in later seasons. Craig is calm and flat. He does not show much emotion. This should be soothing for Tweek. Craig is predictable, but Tweek's anxiety makes him worry about Craig constantly. Is Craig mad? Is Craig bored? Is Craig going to leave? Tweek cannot just enjoy having a boyfriend. He has to analyze every interaction for signs of problems. Craig tries to help. He stays calm when Tweek panics. He reassures Tweek when he is scared. But reassurance does not fix anxiety. Tweek cannot just hear that everything is fine and believe it. Even when someone calms him down, he finds new things to worry about. Craig said everything is fine, but what if he was lying to be nice? What if Craig is secretly unhappy? What if the relationship is failing and Tweek is the only one who does not see it? Tweek's brain turns reassurance into new anxiety. This is the anxiety loop. Tweek worries about something. Someone tells him not to worry. Tweek worries that he is worrying too much. Now he is worried about being worried. His worry keeps causing more worry. Every attempt to calm down becomes another thing to be anxious about. Tweek is stuck in a cycle that has no exit. Tweek also has physical symptoms. His hands shake. His voice cracks. He pulls his hair. He screams randomly. These are not choices. His body is responding to the constant flood of stress hormones. His body always feels like it is in danger. His nervous system never gets to rest. This is destroying him physically. Think about what chronic anxiety does to a person. It damages the heart, it weakens the immune system, it disrupts sleep, it causes pain and fatigue. Tweek is experiencing all of this as a child. His body is aging faster than it should. Constant stress is hurting his body. Tweek is not just mentally suffering. He is being physically damaged by his own brain. Tweek also cannot sleep properly. His mind races at night. He lies in bed thinking about everything that went wrong today and everything that could go wrong tomorrow. Sleep should be an escape from anxiety, but for Tweek, even bedtime is scary for him. When there are no distractions, his thoughts take over. He is alone with his fears, and his fears are overwhelming. The show does not offer Tweek real solutions. He does not get therapy. Nobody teaches him how to handle his anxiety. He just stays anxious. Episode after episode, Tweek is shaking and screaming. Nothing changes. Nothing improves. Tweek is trapped in his anxiety with no way out, and everyone around him just accepts that this is who Tweek is. The anxious kid. People call him nuts instead of seeing he is overloaded. The kid who freaks out. But Tweek is not freaking out for no reason. He is freaking out because his brain is showing him too much reality. He is scared because he sees how fragile life really is. He sees how many things can go wrong. He sees how little control anyone actually has. These observations are true. The world is dangerous. Things do go wrong. People cannot control most of what happens to them. Tweek is not wrong about any of this. He just cannot stop thinking about it. The disturbing theory here is that Tweek's anxiety is not a disorder. He notices everything, all the time. His mind thinks about too many things at once and cannot filter out the noise. He sees every possible threat and cannot determine which ones are real. Tweek is drowning in information that his brain cannot organize. His fear is rational overload. He is thinking too much and feeling too much and noticing too much. And nobody helps him because they think he is just crazy. But Tweek is not crazy. Tweek feels overwhelmed all the time. His brain is doing too much, too fast. It is like a computer running too many programs at once. Everything slows down, everything glitches. Tweek is glitching constantly. His anxiety is his brain trying to process more than it can handle. And instead of getting help managing the load, Tweek just gets told to calm down, which does nothing, because you cannot calm down when your brain is showing you 1,000 threats per minute. Tweek is stuck in hyper-awareness. Seeing everything all the time feels like torture for him. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Craig Tucker, Emotional Armor, Cynicism. Section 11. Craig Tucker, Emotional Armor, Cynicism. Craig Tucker pretends he does not care about anything. At least, that is what he wants everyone to think. He talks in a flat voice. He shows minimal emotion. He gives sarcastic responses to everything. When other kids get excited or upset, Craig stays blank. He acts like nothing matters, like he is above caring. But here is the disturbing part. Craig is not naturally emotionless. He built this personality as protection. His boring voice is a shield. His flatness is a shield. Craig learned that caring makes you vulnerable, so he stopped letting anyone see him care. Craig is defense disguised as personality. Other kids express feelings openly. They laugh and cry and get angry. Craig does none of that. He makes sure nobody sees what he feels. He reacts to events with minimal affect. When something terrible happens, Craig shrugs. When something good happens, Craig barely acknowledges it. He trained himself to stay neutral, to show nothing, to be a wall that nothing can touch. South Park shows this through how Craig talks. He uses jokes to keep people away. When someone asks him a question, he gives a snarky answer. When someone shares good news, Craig makes a dismissive comment. When someone is upset, Craig does not offer comfort. He just makes a dry observation. Craig uses humor as distance. He turns everything into a joke so he does not have to engage with it seriously. Think about what sarcasm does. It creates space between you and reality. You are not really reacting to what is happening. You are commenting on it from a safe distance. Sarcasm is a way to participate without investing. Craig mastered this. He can be in a conversation without being emotionally present. He can respond without revealing anything real. His sarcasm is a mask he never takes off. Craig also flips people off constantly. This is his signature move. Someone annoys him and Craig raises his middle finger. Someone asks him to do something and Craig flips them off. It is his default response. Flipping people off tells them to back off, that he will not comply, that he refuses to be affected. But it is also aggressive. Craig is not just neutral, he is hostile. His indifference has teeth. This hostility is important. Craig is not peacefully detached. He is defensively detached. He keeps others at a distance. The middle finger is a barrier. It says, stay back. Do not try to connect with me. Do not expect me to care. Craig is not just protecting himself from being hurt. He is making sure nobody even tries to hurt him. He scares people off before they become a threat. The show reveals that Craig was not always like this. In early episodes, Craig shows normal emotions sometimes. He gets angry, he gets frustrated. But as the series goes on, Craig becomes flatter, more controlled, more cynical. Something happened that made Craig decide emotions were dangerous. He did not start out as an emotionless wall. He became one. And becoming one means he is working to maintain it. Think about the effort this takes. Craig has to monitor himself constantly. He has to catch emotions before they show. He has to control his voice and face and body language. He has to make sure nothing slips through. This is exhausting. Craig is not naturally flat. He is actively suppressing. Not caring became automatic for him. And performances require energy. Craig's relationship with Tweek reveals cracks in his armor. Tweek is the opposite of Craig. Tweek feels everything intensely. He panics constantly. He shows all his emotions openly. When Craig and Tweek start dating, it creates a strange dynamic. Craig the emotional void is with Tweek the emotional hurricane. They should not work, but they do. Craig is gentler with Tweek than with anyone else. He comforts Tweek when he panics. He stays calm when Tweek spirals. He provides stability. With Tweak, he shows a tiny bit of care. This is significant. Craig let someone through his armor. He let Tweak matter to him. And mattering to Craig is rare. Craig does not let things matter. But Craig still keeps distance, even with Tweak. He does not get overly emotional. He does not express love dramatically. He shows love by what he does, not what he says. Craig makes sure Tweak is okay, but he does it in his flat Craig way. He does not gush. He does not get sentimental. He helps Tweak calmly without big emotions. His armor stays on. It just has one small door open for Tweak. Think about what this means. Craig found someone he actually cares about. Someone who matters enough to lower his guard slightly. But he still cannot fully express that care. He still has to maintain control. Craig is so committed to his emotional armor that he cannot take it off even for the person he loves most. The armor became part of him. He does not know how to exist without it anymore. Craig also deals with his family issues through detachment. His family is not terrible, but they are not great either. His parents fight sometimes. His little sister Trisha is bratty and tough. When family fights, he checks out. When Trisha annoys him, Craig ignores her. He does not try to fix family problems. He just removes himself from them. This detachment protects Craig from family stress. He does not get pulled into conflicts. He does not absorb the tension. He stays separate from the dysfunction. But this also means Craig is isolated within his own family. He is physically present, but emotionally absent. Craig is alone even when surrounded by people. And he prefers it that way because being alone is safer than being involved. He always expects things to go wrong. He assumes people are selfish. He does not believe in grand causes or noble intentions. Craig thinks everyone is looking out for themselves, that nothing really matters, that trying to make things better is pointless. This worldview justifies his detachment. If nothing matters anyway, why care? But this worldview is protective. If Craig believes nothing matters, then nothing can disappoint him. If he expects the worst, he is never surprised by it. Craig built a philosophy that makes his emotional armor make sense. He is not avoiding feelings for no reason. Acting negative protects him from getting hurt. On hope and trust and belief. And Craig does not do hope. Hope leads to disappointment. Better to expect nothing. Think about the episode where Craig has to learn about guinea pig behavior. He gets assigned a guinea pig for a school project. Craig does not want to care about the guinea pig, but the guinea pig gets sick and dies. Craig is supposed to learn a lesson about life and death and caring, but Craig does not react the way he is supposed to. He does not cry or mourn. He just gets a new guinea pig and moves on. Craig refused to let the death affect him. He stayed controlled even when the situation called for emotion. This is Craig's pattern. He encounters situations that should make him feel something, and he chooses not to feel. Or he chooses not to show that he feels. Either way, Craig maintains his armor. He does not give anyone the satisfaction of seeing him vulnerable. He does not give himself permission to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is weakness, and Craig will not be weak. But staying armored all the time has costs. Craig does not have deep friendships. He has people he hangs out with, but not people he trusts. He does not share his problems. He does not ask for help. He handles everything alone because asking for help means admitting you cannot handle something. And Craig has to be able to handle everything. His attitude is really just a shield. If something affects him, the identity crumbles. Craig also misses out on positive emotions. He does not let himself get too happy. He does not celebrate victories. He does not enjoy things fully. Craig capped his emotional range. He can only feel within a narrow band. Anything above mild interest or mild annoyance gets suppressed. He avoids good feelings to skip bad ones. His shield leaves him alone. Good and bad. This is the trade Craig made. He chooses safety over friendship, protection for connection, control for authenticity. Craig decided that being invulnerable was worth being isolated, that being safe was worth being empty. He looked at the world and decided that showing emotion only leads to pain. So he built a personality that feels nothing, or at least looks like it feels nothing.
The disturbing theory here is that Craig's cynicism is not his real personality. It is a defense mechanism he maintained so long it became his personality. Craig is not naturally flat and sarcastic. He is someone who got hurt and decided never to get hurt again. So he built emotional armor and wore it every day until he forgot what he looked like without it. Craig is not emotionally unavailable because that is who he is. He is emotionally unavailable because that is who he chose to become. And choosing to become unavailable means choosing to be alone. Craig picked safety over connection, and now he is safe and alone and empty. But at least he cannot get hurt. At least nobody can touch him. At least he is in control. Craig won the battle against vulnerability by surrendering his ability to feel, and he thinks this is victory. Up next is Jimmy Valmer, performance coping. Section 12. Jimmy Valmer, performance coping. Jimmy Valmer is the funny kid. He does stand-up comedy, he makes jokes constantly, he performs for people, he makes them laugh. Jimmy has a disability. He uses crutches to walk, he has a speech impediment, but he does not let that stop him from being the entertainer. He turns his challenges into material. He jokes about his disability. He makes people comfortable through humor. But here is the disturbing part. Jimmy is not funny because he loves comedy. He is funny because comedy protects him. Jimmy uses jokes to protect himself. Jimmy performs to survive. Jimmy learned early that being disabled makes people treat you differently. They stare. They feel sorry for you. They talk down to you. They assume you cannot do things. Jimmy experienced all of this. He felt people's pity. He saw their discomfort. He noticed how they changed around him. And Jimmy decided he would not be the disabled kid everyone felt bad for. He would be the funny kid everyone liked. Jokes stop people from feeling sorry for him. South Park shows this through Jimmy's constant performances. He is always doing a bit. Every conversation becomes a bit. Every situation becomes material. Jimmy talks like he is doing a routine, even in normal interactions. He sets up punchlines, he delivers jokes, he performs for an audience that is not always there. Jimmy cannot turn it off, because turning it off means being vulnerable. Being the disabled kid instead of the funny kid. Think about what this means. Jimmy wakes up and immediately starts performing. He makes jokes at breakfast, he does bits on the way to school, he entertains his classmates. He never stops being funny, because stopping means people will remember he is disabled. They will see the crutches and the speech impediment instead of the jokes. Laughing makes people look at him the way he wants. He makes them focus on his comedy so they do not focus on his disability. Jimmy also uses self-deprecating humor. He makes fun of himself before anyone else can. He talks about his crutches. He makes fun of his speech. His struggles become part of his act. This seems healthy, like Jimmy is comfortable with himself, but it is actually defensive. Jimmy is making the jokes so nobody else has to. He is beating people to the punchline. He is showing that his disability is fair game for humor, so people do not have to feel awkward about it. But this means Jimmy is constantly making himself the joke. He turns hurt into jokes. He is mining his struggles for material. Jimmy does not get to just have a disability. He has to monetize it. He has to make it funny. He has to perform his own suffering so other people feel comfortable. This is exhausting. Jimmy is working constantly to make everyone else okay with his existence. The show demonstrates this in Jimmy's stand-up routines. He performs at school and in town. He enters comedy competitions. He takes comedy seriously. He practices and refines his material. Jimmy is committed to being funny. But why? Because he loves comedy? Or because comedy is his only defense? Being funny becomes who he is. If he stops being funny, who is he? Just the disabled kid. And Jimmy cannot handle being just that. Jimmy also faces pressure to be inspirational. People expect disabled kids to be brave and inspiring, to overcome their challenges with grace, to make abled people feel good about themselves by showing that disability does not stop you. Jimmy performs this role too. He is the kid who does not let his disability slow him down. He is proof that anyone can succeed if they try hard enough. Jimmy becomes a symbol for people, and symbols have to maintain their image. But being a symbol is dehumanizing.
Jimmy is not just a person. He is an inspiration. He is a lesson. He is proof of concept. People do not see Jimmy. They see what Jimmy represents. They see their own ideas about disability and overcoming and positivity. Jimmy has to carry all of that. He has to be what people need him to be. He cannot just be himself because himself is not enough. He has to be himself plus funny, plus inspirational, plus comfortable. Think about the episode where Jimmy enters a talent show. He performs stand-up. He wants to win based on his comedy. But people vote for him partly because he is disabled. They think it is inspirational that he is performing. They clap extra hard because they feel good about supporting the disabled kid. Winning feels confusing when people pity him. Did he win because he was funny? Or because he was disabled and funny? Jimmy can never know. His disability taints everything he achieves. This creates doubt. He wonders if applause is for jokes or for trying. When people praise Jimmy, are they praising his skill or praising his effort given his disability? Jimmy is stuck wondering if his success is real or just pity disguised as approval. This doubt eats at him. He can never be certain that he earned what he has. Jimmy also competes with other kids. He wants to be seen as a real comedian, not just a disabled comedian. He wants real credit, not sympathy. But people do not judge him the same way. They give him credit for trying. They lower the bar. They make exceptions. Jimmy does not want exceptions. He wants to be good enough without exceptions. But people will not let him. They insist on treating him differently. Being treated differently makes him feel alone. He is not really part of the group. He is the disabled kid in the group. He is included, but not equal. People are nice to Jimmy. They laugh at his jokes, but there is always a layer of pity underneath. Always a sense that people are being generous, that they are giving Jimmy a chance. Jimmy feels this. He knows he is not seen the same way as other kids, and he tries to comedy his way out of that perception. But comedy cannot fix how people see disability. Jimmy can be the funniest kid in school, and people will still see his crutches first. He can write brilliant jokes, and people will still talk about how brave he is. Jimmy is fighting a battle he cannot win, because the problem is not him. The problem is how society treats disability, and one kid telling jokes cannot change that. But Jimmy keeps trying, because trying is all he knows how to do. Jimmy also uses comedy to avoid his own feelings. When something hurts, Jimmy makes a joke about it. When he feels left out, he turns it into a bit. When he is tired of being treated differently, he writes a routine about it. He hides his feelings with jokes. He does not sit with his emotions. He does not let himself feel bad. He jokes instead of dealing with problems. This is a coping mechanism, but it is also avoidance. Think about what happens when you always perform your pain. You never actually deal with it. You never process it fully. You just repackage it and present it to an audience. Jimmy is doing this constantly. He is turning his life into a show. He is performing his experiences instead of living them. The funny version of him takes over, and the real Jimmy is getting lost underneath the performance. Jimmy also depends on validation from others. He needs people to laugh at his jokes. He needs applause. He needs recognition. Praise makes him feel like everyone else. Every laugh is proof that he is funny. Every compliment is proof that he has value. Jimmy is addicted to external validation because he does not have internal validation. He does not believe he is enough without the comedy, so he keeps performing. Keeps seeking approval. Keeps trying to earn his place. But external validation is unstable. It depends on other people, and other people are unpredictable. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they do not. Sometimes they praise Jimmy, sometimes they ignore him. Jimmy is at the mercy of his audience, and his entire sense of self-worth depends on how they respond. This is a terrible way to live. Jimmy is constantly anxious about his performance, constantly worried that he is not funny enough, that people will stop laughing, that he will lose his value. The show does not present Jimmy as tragic. He is successful and well-liked. He seems happy. But happiness and performance are not the same thing. Jimmy performs happiness. He jokes and smiles and entertains.
But underneath the performance is a kid who is exhausted from being on all the time. A kid who is tired of making himself the joke. A kid who wants to be seen as more than funny or inspirational. Jimmy wants to be seen as human, but he does not know how to be human without performing. The disturbing theory here is that Jimmy uses comedy as emotional armor. He performs to protect himself from judgment and pity. He jokes to control how people see him. He turns his pain into entertainment so he does not have to feel it directly. Jimmy is not naturally funny. He became funny because funny was safer than vulnerable. Being funny is how he survives, his defense, his coping mechanism. And he has used it for so long that he does not know who he is without it. Jimmy is disappearing behind his performance. The real Jimmy is getting smaller, while the comedian Jimmy gets bigger. Eventually, there might not be any real Jimmy left. Just the performance, just the jokes, just the character he created to survive. Jimmy is losing himself to save himself. He is becoming the mask he wears. And masks do not have feelings. They do not have needs. They just perform. And Jimmy will perform until he forgets he is performing. Until the performance is all that is left. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Next up is Timmy Birch, Misinterpreted Agency. Section 13. Timmy Birch, Misinterpreted Agency. Timmy Birch can only say his own name. He sits in a wheelchair. He has limited physical mobility and very limited speech. People think Timmy cannot do anything. They assume he needs constant help. They assume he cannot understand complex things. He gets talked to like he is little. But here is the disturbing part. He gets way more than people think. He understands everything. He makes his own decisions. He has full agency. But because he cannot communicate in traditional ways, people mistake his competence for absence. Timmy is a capable person trapped inside other people's low expectations. Timmy can only say a few words. Timmy, Jimmy, and a handful of other simple sounds. Because he cannot talk much, people assume he cannot think much. They think if he cannot talk much, he cannot think much. They connect language ability with mental ability. This is wrong. Timmy's brain works fine. His speech does not. But people do not make that distinction. They see the speech problem and assume it reflects everything about him. South Park shows this through how people interact with Timmy. They talk to him in simple sentences. They use baby voices sometimes. They explain things very slowly, like Timmy might not understand. People decide things for Timmy. Teachers treat him like he needs special, simple lessons. Other kids sometimes talk about him like he is not there. People do not see Timmy as a full person. They see him as someone who needs to be managed and helped. But the show also reveals that Timmy is sharp. He understands what is happening around him. He gets jokes. He follows complex situations. He makes strategic decisions. Timmy participates in activities that require planning and thought. He is not absent or confused. He is present and aware. The only thing holding Timmy back is other people's assumptions about him. Think about the Timmy 2000 episode. Timmy joins a band. He becomes the lead singer of a rock band called Timmy and the Lords of the Underworld. He performs on stage. The band becomes popular. Timmy is not just sitting there. He is actively performing. He is contributing to the music. He is part of the creative process. Timmy has rhythm and timing. He knows when to say his name for maximum impact. Performing shows what he can really do, not as someone being paraded around for sympathy, as an actual musician. The band gets successful. People love the music. They respond to Timmy's performance. For a moment, Timmy is seen as a performer, not as a disabled kid. He is judged on the music, not on his wheelchair. This is rare for Timmy. Usually his disability is the first thing people notice, the only thing people notice. But when he is performing, people focus on the performance. Timmy gets to be seen as capable, as talented, as valuable beyond his disability. But then, adults ruin it. They start questioning whether the band is exploiting Timmy. They worry that Timmy is being used. They assume Timmy cannot consent to being in a band. They assume someone else is making him do this.
They cannot imagine that Timmy chose this himself, that he wants to perform, that he is capable of making that decision. Adults doubt his decisions instead of trusting them. Nobody asks what he wants. This pattern repeats constantly. Timmy does something. People question whether he really chose it. They assume someone pushed him into it. They assume Timmy needs to be rescued from his own choices. This is deeply disrespectful. It treats Timmy like he cannot make decisions, like he is a child or an object, like he does not have preferences and desires and autonomy. People think they are helping Timmy, but they are actually limiting him. Think about the Crips episode. Timmy joins a group called the Crips. He thinks it is a club for people with disabilities. It is actually a gang. But Timmy participates actively. He is not confused or lost. He makes choices within the group. He contributes. He is part of the organization. When other characters realize Timmy is in a gang, they panic. They assume Timmy does not understand what he is involved in. They try to rescue him. But Timmy is making his own choices. He just cannot explain those choices in words people accept. This highlights the real problem. People do not trust Timmy because he cannot communicate in traditional ways. If Timmy could speak normally, people would ask him what he wants. They would listen to his explanations. They would respect his choices. But because Timmy can only say his name, people assume he has nothing to say. They assume silence means absence. Talking problems hide how smart he is. This assumption traps Timmy. Timmy also gets infantilized. People talk to him like he is younger than he is. They praise him excessively for doing normal things. They celebrate basic actions, like Timmy participating is unusual. This seems positive, but it is actually condescending. Timmy does not want to be praised for existing. He wants to be treated like everyone else. But people cannot see past his disability. They cannot interact with Timmy without making his disability the focus. Timmy's friendship with Jimmy shows this contrast. Jimmy and Timmy are both disabled, but Jimmy can speak. Jimmy can explain himself. Jimmy can advocate for what he wants. People listen to Jimmy because he uses words they understand. Timmy cannot do this. So Timmy gets talked over, gets decided for, gets assumed about. Next to Jimmy, people listen to one, but not the other, but very different social experiences because of communication. Think about how Timmy navigates school. He participates in class, he does assignments, he interacts with other students. Timmy is present and engaged. But teachers sometimes do not know how to include him. They do not know how to get his input. They create modified assignments, assuming Timmy cannot handle regular work. But maybe Timmy can handle it. Maybe Timmy wants to try. Nobody asks, because asking requires a form of communication Timmy cannot provide. This creates a cycle. People assume Timmy is limited. They give him limited opportunities. Timmy cannot prove his capability because he is not given chances to demonstrate it. The lack of opportunities confirms people's assumptions. They think Timmy is being given appropriate accommodations. But really, Timmy is being held back by low expectations. And because Timmy cannot argue verbally, he cannot fight against those expectations. Timmy also experiences tokenization. People include him just to look good. They point to Timmy as proof they care about disabled people. They use Timmy's presence to feel good about themselves. But they do not actually listen to Timmy. They do not adjust their behavior based on Timmy's needs. They just want Timmy there as a symbol, as proof of their tolerance. Timmy is used without being valued. Think about how this feels for Timmy. He is fully aware of what is happening. He sees people underestimate him. He sees people make decisions for him. He sees people use him for their own purposes. And he cannot explain any of this. He cannot tell people they are wrong about him. He cannot demand respect. He can only say his name. So Timmy is stuck witnessing his own misrepresentation and being powerless to correct it. Timmy also has desires and preferences. He has things he wants to do, places he wants to go, people he wants to spend time with. But expressing these desires is tough. Timmy cannot just say what he wants. He has to hope people notice, hope people ask the right questions, hope people care enough to figure it out. Most of the time, people just decide for Timmy. They assume they know what is best. They do not check if they are right. This lack of control over his own life is disturbing.
Timmy is constantly subject to other people's decisions, where he goes, what he does, how he spends his time.
Other kids get to choose these things. Timmy does not. Not because he cannot make choices, but because people do not recognize his choices as valid. They override his agency without realizing they are doing it. They think they are helping, but they are actually controlling. The show sometimes reveals Timmy's awareness through his actions. He makes faces that show understanding. He reacts to situations appropriately. He positions himself strategically. These are clues that Timmy is fully present mentally. But people miss these clues, or they see them and still do not adjust their behavior. They are so committed to their assumptions about disability that evidence does not change their minds. Timmy also deals with being underestimated constantly. People assume he cannot do things. They do not give him chances to try. They step in to help before Timmy asks for help. They solve problems for Timmy that he could solve himself, given time. This constant interference prevents Timmy from developing skills, from proving capability, from showing what he can do. People protect him so much, they hold him back. The disturbing theory here is that Timmy is a fully capable person who gets treated as incapable because of communication barriers. People mistake his limited speech for limited understanding. They assume his wheelchair means he needs decisions made for him. They see disability and cannot see the person underneath. Timmy has full agency, full awareness, full competence. But he is trapped inside other people's misinterpretations. He cannot correct their assumptions, because correcting requires communication they will not accept. Timmy lives in a prison made of other people's low expectations. He is capable, but not believed. He is autonomous, but not trusted. He is present, but not seen. Timmy is hidden inside plain sight. Everyone looks at him and sees only disability. They do not see Timmy. They do not see his mind working. They do not see his choices being made. They just see what they expect to see. And what they expect is someone who needs help, someone who is less than whole, someone who cannot possibly understand what is happening around him. But Timmy understands everything. He just cannot make people understand that he understands. And that is the cruelest trap of all. Moving on to Mr. Garrison. Identity fragmentation. Section 14. Mr. Garrison. Identity fragmentation. Mr. Garrison changes himself constantly. He changes gender, he changes political beliefs, he changes his entire personality. He becomes a different person every few seasons. But here is the disturbing part. Garrison is not exploring himself. He is not growing or evolving. He is fragmenting. Every time Garrison faces internal conflict about who he is, he does not resolve it. He becomes someone else instead of dealing with his problems. He rebuilds his identity from scratch. He treats who he is like an outfit he can switch. Changing himself is how he handles stress. And crisis management is not the same as healing. Garrison has massive internal conflict about himself. He does not like who he is. He feels wrong in his own skin. He looks at himself and sees problems. So Garrison decides the solution is to change everything. If he does not like being himself, he will become someone different. This seems logical, but it does not work. Because the problem is not Garrison's identity. The problem is that Garrison does not know how to accept himself. So no matter what he becomes, he still hates what he is. South Park shows this through Garrison's transitions. He starts as a closeted gay man. He is a teacher who is clearly struggling with his sexuality. Garrison is attracted to men, but cannot accept that about himself. He has a puppet named Mr. Hat that he uses to express things he cannot say directly. The puppet is a coping mechanism, a way for Garrison to split himself, to have part of him say what the whole of him cannot admit. Eventually, Garrison comes out as gay. This should solve his internal conflict. He is no longer hiding. He is living authentically. But coming out does not make Garrison happy. He is still miserable, still angry, still confused about who he is. Saying he is gay does not make him happy. So Garrison keeps searching for the next change that will make him feel whole. Then Garrison decides to transition. He becomes a woman. He gets surgery. He changes his name to Janet for a while. Garrison thinks being a woman will solve his problems.
He thinks he was born in the wrong body, that gender is the issue.
So he changes gender completely. This is a massive life change. It should be the answer, but it is not. Garrison is still unhappy, still unstable, still fragmenting. Think about what this reveals.
Garrison keeps making huge changes, expecting each change to fix him, but the changes do not work because the real problem is internal. Garrison does not accept himself. Changing the outside does not fix the inside. You cannot run from yourself by becoming someone else. Wherever you go, you take yourself with you. Garrison does not understand this, or he understands it but cannot face it, so he keeps reinventing. Later, Garrison detransitions. Switching back restarts everything. He decides being a woman was wrong. He goes back to being male. But this Garrison is different from the original Garrison. He is more extreme, more angry, more unhinged. Garrison does not just return to who he was. Each new version gets louder and bigger, a harder version, a version that is even further from stable. Then Garrison gets involved in politics. He becomes obsessed with political power. He runs for president. He wins. Becoming president is his new idea of feeling whole. Garrison thinks power will finally make him feel complete, that being important will fill the emptiness inside him. But it does not. Garrison as president is still miserable, still confused, still reinventing himself with new beliefs and positions. Each reinvention is Garrison trying to fix himself through change. He thinks each new change will finally fix him. But that version does not exist. Because the problem is not which version he chooses. The real issue is that he cannot accept himself. He is always running, always changing, always fragmenting into new pieces. Think about the mental cost of this. Garrison has no stable sense of self. He does not know who he is at his core. He has tried so many identities that they all blur together. Garrison is a collection of personas, each one built to solve a problem. He never likes who he becomes. Change replaces dealing with his feelings. Garrison is not a person anymore. He is a series of attempted solutions, and none of them work. Garrison also hurts other people with his instability. Kids watch him fall apart. One year, Garrison is one person. Next year, he is completely different. The kids cannot rely on him, cannot predict him. Garrison is supposed to be the adult, the stable authority figure. But he is the opposite. He is chaos. He is unpredictability. He is someone falling apart in front of children. Garrison's relationships fail because of his fragmentation. People cannot stay with someone who keeps changing. People get close to one version of Garrison. Then that version disappears. They are left with someone new who looks like Garrison but acts completely different. This is confusing and hurtful. People cannot love someone who will not stay consistent long enough to be loved. Think about Mr. Slave. He was Garrison's boyfriend when Garrison was openly gay. They had a relationship. But then Garrison transitioned and the relationship ended. Garrison changed so drastically that the relationship could not survive. Mr. Slave loved one version of Garrison. That version stopped existing, so the love had nowhere to go. Garrison traded his relationship for another attempt at reinvention. And the reinvention failed anyway. Garrison also becomes more extreme with each change. Early Garrison was unstable but relatively controlled. Later Garrison is completely unhinged. He has no filter, no boundaries, no consistency. Garrison is spiraling. Each reinvention takes him further from stability. He is not getting better. He is getting worse. The fragmentation is accelerating. This acceleration is what makes Garrison disturbing. He is not learning from his failed reinventions. He is not realizing that change is not the answer. He is just changing faster, making more extreme choices, going to bigger extremes. Garrison is like an addict chasing a high. Each identity gives him a brief feeling of hope. He thinks each new change will finally fix him. Then the feeling fades and Garrison crashes, and the crash gets harder each time. Garrison's political phase shows how far he has fallen. He goes from being a teacher to being a presidential candidate to being president. This is not normal progression.
This is someone completely detached from reality. Garrison thinks political power will validate him, will prove he matters, will make him feel whole. But power is just another identity, another costume, another attempt to be someone who feels okay. And it fails like everything else. Think about what Garrison lost along the way. He lost his sense of self. He lost relationships. He lost stability. He lost the ability to just be. Garrison is so busy becoming that he forgot how to exist. He cannot sit still, cannot be quiet, cannot just accept himself as he is right now. Every moment is a crisis that needs to be solved through change. Every feeling of discomfort becomes a reason to reinvent completely. Garrison also lost the ability to recognize his pattern. He does not see that he keeps doing the same thing. He thinks each reinvention is different, is the real answer this time. He does not realize he has tried this before in different forms. That changing never worked and will not work now. Garrison is blind to his own cycle. He is trapped in it without knowing he is trapped. The show presents Garrison as comedic. His changes are absurd and extreme. His behavior is ridiculous. But underneath the comedy is someone who is genuinely broken. Someone who is tearing themselves apart trying to feel whole. Someone who is destroying themselves through constant reinvention. Garrison is not funny. He is tragic. He is someone who needed therapy and self-acceptance, but chose identity crisis instead. The disturbing theory here is that Garrison uses identity reinvention as crisis triage instead of actual healing. Every time he feels internal conflict, he does not work through it. He changes himself to avoid it. He treats selfhood as something to rebuild rather than something to accept. Garrison is fragmenting into smaller and smaller pieces. Each reinvention breaks him more. Each change takes him further from stability. Garrison is not becoming different people. He is falling apart and calling it transformation. Garrison will never feel whole because wholeness requires accepting yourself, and Garrison refuses to accept any version of himself long enough to heal. He is addicted to change, to reinvention, to the brief hope that comes with starting over. But starting over is not the same as moving forward. Garrison is stuck in a loop, changing constantly but never growing, fragmenting constantly but never healing, running constantly but never escaping. Because the thing he is running from is himself, and you cannot run from yourself. You can only destroy yourself trying. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Up next is Mr. Mackey, Anxiety Bureaucrat. Section 15, Mr. Mackey, Anxiety Bureaucrat. Mr. Mackey is the school counselor. He is supposed to help kids with their problems. He is supposed to provide guidance and support. But here is the disturbing part. Mr. Mackey does not actually help anyone. He uses rules to deal with his fear. He hides behind policies and procedures. Paperwork replaces real help. Mr. Mackey is not helping kids. He is using his position to create order in a world that terrifies him. His authority is not about helping others. It is about controlling his own fear of chaos. Mr. Mackey is deeply anxious. He is afraid of disorder, afraid of unpredictability, afraid of situations he cannot control. This anxiety drives everything he does. When Mr. Mackey faces a problem, he does not look for what would actually help. He looks for what rule applies. He turns human issues into policy questions. He replaces emotional support with institutional procedure. This makes Mr. Mackey feel safe. Steps and rules make him feel safe. Policies are stable. Bureaucracy is controllable. South Park shows this through how Mr. Mackey counsels students. Kids come to him with real problems. They are struggling with fear or sadness or confusion. Mr. Mackey does not engage with their feelings. He gives them pamphlets. He recites school policy. He tells them what they are supposed to do according to the rules. He says his catchphrase, "Drugs are bad, okay," but never actually helps kids understand why or how to deal with drug-related issues. Mr. Mackey is performing counseling without actually counseling. Think about what happens when a kid comes to Mr. Mackey scared or hurt. The kid needs someone to listen, someone to understand, someone to help them process what they are feeling. Mr. Mackey does not do any of that. He immediately categorizes the problem. He decides which policy it falls under.
Then he applies that policy. Kids get treated like forms, not people. But they do not leave feeling helped. They leave feeling processed. Mr. Mackey treats children like problems to be managed, not people to be supported.
He has protocols for everything. Bullying protocol, drug protocol, mental health protocol.
Mr. Mackey follows these protocols rigidly, even when the protocol does not fit the situation, even when following the protocol makes things worse. Because following protocol makes Mr. Mackey feel like he is doing his job, like he has control, like the chaos is being managed. This approach comes from fear. Chaos makes him freak out inside. He is terrified of not knowing what to do.
He is terrified of situations that do not have clear answers. So he created a system where every situation has a clear answer. Every problem has a corresponding policy. Mr. Mackey never has to sit with uncertainty, never has to feel confused, never has to admit he does not know how to help. He just applies the system. And the system always has an answer, even when that answer is useless. The show demonstrates this in the sexual harassment episode. The school implements a sexual harassment policy. Mr. Mackey becomes obsessed with enforcing it. He sees harassment everywhere. He punishes kids for minor interactions. He turns the school into a police state. Mr. Mackey is not protecting anyone. He is using the policy to exert control. Rules make him feel protected. Gives him rules to enforce. Gives him a way to manage his anxiety about disorder. He makes little issues big. Instead of handling it calmly, Mr. Mackey panics. He sees every small issue as a potential crisis. He overreacts. He brings in more authority. He creates bigger consequences than necessary. Mr. Mackey cannot handle proportional responses. Everything feels like a threat to order. So everything gets treated like an emergency. Think about what this does to students. Kids stay away because he overreacts. He does not help. He escalates. He turns manageable issues into major incidents, so students stop going to him. They hide their problems. They deal with things alone. The person who is supposed to help them becomes someone to avoid. Mr. Mackey is failing at his job, but does not realize it because he is following all the rules. Mr. Mackey also enforces policies inconsistently. His anxiety decides how strict he is. When he feels secure, he relaxes. His enforcement depends on his emotional state, not on what students actually need. This creates confusion. Students cannot predict how Mr. Mackey will react. They do not know which rules matter and which do not. Mr. Mackey is using authority to manage his feelings, and that makes him unreliable. Mr. Mackey's drug obsession shows his anxiety clearly. He is terrified of drugs. He sees drugs as chaos, as loss of control, as something that breaks the order. So Mr. Mackey makes drugs his primary focus. He talks about drugs constantly. He teaches about drugs constantly. He sees drug use everywhere, even when it is not there. Drugs are bad, becomes his identity. Because fighting drugs gives him a clear enemy, a clear mission, a clear way to feel like he is maintaining order. But Mr. Mackey's anti-drug approach does not work. He does not teach kids how to make good decisions. He does not address why kids might use drugs. He just says drugs are bad over and over. This is not education. This is fear management. Mr. Mackey is trying to control his own anxiety about drugs by controlling students. But you cannot control people into making good choices. You have to teach them. Mr. Mackey does not know how to teach. He only knows how to enforce. Think about the episode where Mr. Mackey gets fired. He loses his job temporarily. Without his position, Mr. Mackey falls apart. He has no structure. His title hides how scared he is. No rules to hide behind. Mr. Mackey spirals. He ends up using drugs himself. The thing he feared most becomes his reality when the structure is removed. This reveals how fragile Mr. Mackey's control is. He is not actually stable. He is barely holding himself together with bureaucracy. Take away the bureaucracy and Mr. Mackey has nothing.
When Mr. Mackey gets his job back, he does not learn from this experience. He does not realize that rules are not enough, that he needs actual emotional health. He just goes back to enforcing policies, back to hiding behind authority, back to managing his anxiety through control. Mr. Mackey hit bottom and learned nothing, because learning would require facing his fear, and Mr. Mackey cannot do that. Mr. Mackey also uses his position to avoid personal growth. As long as he is the counselor, he does not have to be counseled. As long as he is the authority, he does not have to admit he needs help. Mr. Mackey hides behind his role. He uses it as proof that he is okay, that he has his life together. But he does not. Mr. Mackey is deeply unwell. He is using his job to avoid dealing with that. Think about how Mr. Mackey interacts with other adults. He is awkward and anxious. He does not have real friendships. He does not have intimate relationships. Mr. Mackey is isolated. He spends all his time enforcing rules and has no time for actual connection. His life is empty. But he tells himself it is not empty because he has important work, because he is maintaining order, because he is helping kids. But he is not helping anyone. He is just surviving. His room makes him feel safe. It is full of motivational posters and pamphlets. Everything is organized. Everything has a place. The office is a physical representation of Mr. Mackey's need for control. Every object is where it should be. Every poster reinforces the rules. The office is a shrine to order. Mr. Mackey built himself a safe space made entirely of structure, and he rarely leaves it. When Mr. Mackey has to deal with real emotional chaos, he panics. He does not know what to do. He falls back on policies that do not apply. He says things that do not help. He becomes useless. Mr. Mackey is only good at his job when the job is simple and rule-based. When the job requires real human connection, Mr. Mackey fails. Because connection requires vulnerability, and Mr. Mackey is terrified of being vulnerable. Mr. Mackey also resents students who do not follow rules. Disobedience makes him nervous, as sources of chaos. When a student is rebellious or tough, Mr. Mackey does not try to understand why. He just tries to force compliance. He uses punishment and consequences. He tries to break the student into following the system. Because students outside the system make Mr. Mackey anxious, they remind him that he does not actually have control, that order is an illusion, that chaos is always waiting. Think about the toll this takes on Mr. Mackey. He lives in constant low-level anxiety, always monitoring, always enforcing, always trying to maintain control. This is exhausting. Mr. Mackey is burning out. But he cannot stop. Stopping means facing the chaos, facing his own fear, admitting that rules cannot save him. Mr. Mackey is trapped in his own coping mechanism. The thing he built to protect himself became his prison. The disturbing theory here is that Mr. Mackey uses his authority and rules to suppress his fear of chaos. He does not help students because helping requires dealing with unpredictability. Instead, he processes students through bureaucratic systems that give him the illusion of control. Mr. Mackey is not a counselor. He is an anxiety bureaucrat. He uses policies as emotional armor. He hides behind procedures to avoid facing his own terror of disorder. Mr. Mackey will never be good at his job because being good at his job would require giving up control, would require sitting with uncertainty, would require accepting that some problems do not have neat solutions. Mr. Mackey cannot do this. He needs the rules too much. He needs the structure too much. He needs the authority too much. These things keep him from falling apart. So, Mr. Mackey will keep failing kids while telling himself he is helping them. Will keep enforcing policies that do not work. Will keep hiding from his own anxiety behind the walls of bureaucracy. Because those walls are all that stand between Mr. Mackey and complete collapse. Order is not Mr. Mackey's job. Without control, he falls apart, and he will maintain it at any cost, even if that cost is every student who needs real help and gets processed instead. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.